Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome to Nerdgasm. Go ahead and do it, Samuel.
Someone had to do it. I'm just glad it wasn't me.
He's been doing it for like 2 weeks now, at least when I least expected. So I just wanted him to do it so I could not be surprised by it. New show once a month, just like Anime Odyssey, where we're going to choose a single franchise IP, sit down, and nerd out. Now, I have no idea how this is really going to go tonight. I have one simple plan. I'll ask a couple questions, and I will let the tide take us where it does. And we will hopefully have some fun. I'm sure there's going to be some debates. There's going to be some debates. And there's going to be some good old-fashioned nerd. I don't know where I'd say fighting, but I know there's going to be some back and forth. I'm ready for it, and I hope you guys are too. Let's just say hi to everybody, and let's dive right in with my initial question just to set the stage. And there will be a threshold because I know at least one of us hasn't gone all the way to the end, so there will be a threshold. Yeah. You look sad, look ashamed. Yeah, look ashamed right there. I know you're talking about it. Anyway, so
I need to look ashamed too.
Oh, good. You look ashamed too. Asshole. Anyway, let's
asshole.
All right, Samuel. How you doing today?
Aritriactica.
Oh God damn it.
Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. I've been fucking itching to do that since you announced this shit. For those who don't know, it's in my little descriptor there too. It means even in death we do not surrender. In the Nigul language. Bit of a Stargate nerd here. Although it has been like 2 years since I actually watched SG-1 all the way through, so I probably will forget some shit. Otherwise, very happy to be here. Been looking forward to this, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, as always. Yeah, it's been a while since I did my watch. I used to do it biannually, and that since I started doing YouTube, that kind of has not been possible because I really don't have the time to sit down and go all the way through it like I used to. Of course, at this point, because I've seen it so many times, I tend to start skipping episodes along the way. It's like, okay, I could skip this one, because I can do that. I've watched this all the way through at least 10 or 15 times, so I'm okay. But we do have noob cakes here. Hi, Judd.
Hi. Yes, I am very new to the Stargate fandom. Only started watching it a couple months ago now, about halfway through season 9, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not,
nice.
It's not the beginning of the show or anything. Very much enjoying, especially the first half. The last part, though, I'm nearly checked out entirely on. So I don't care if you guys spoil. So that
all right,
that thing Adam said about a final cap to what we can talk about, that's lifted for me. I can't say for Ryan, but I don't care for you guys spoil anything.
Without going too far, when it comes to seasons 9 and 10. The transition is made easier if you are a Farscape fan. If you are a Farscape fan like me, it was much easier when Ben Browder and Claudia Black joined the cast full time because I already love them from Farscape. So
it helps because they make several references too.
Are you upset at that?
Wait for it. Let's not dogpile the ginger. Okay, no dogpiling here.
What else is ginger
Ryan. Okay, Ryan. What's your cap here? What's your season cap?
Okay, my season cap was actually very early. It was roughly in the neighborhood of about 6. I love the original Stargate movie. I watched Stargate SG-1 when they made it a straight to DVD movie, kind of where somebody got real naked.
Children of the Gods, parts 1.
Yeah, Children of the Gods. That was the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that I don't believe was on TV.
No, it was Showtime. No. It was Showtime.
So
is it really?
First 5 seasons were on Showtime.
He saw the naked girl and then watched 6 seasons hoping to see another naked girl.
It never happened again.
I never watched the movie. Who got naked?
The irony
was another pair of boobs.
The irony is that I was in high school and my dad rented that movie thinking it would be like the first movie. So we watched it.
No, well, that was the problem when they launched it. They didn't do a lot of telling people that while it is a continuation of the original movie, there's some serious retconning that goes on, and you have to jump through some serious hoops and understand that, and then kind of put the original movie in its place with its basic concepts and just go forward and be happy. So, all right. So are we capping it at season 6 right now? Discussion?
No. Y'all go all the way, especially for
Okay.
Sam though, because I know that Sam. Look, I've known Sam for a long time. He's been wanting to talk about this forever. So let's go nuts. I don't care.
I don't see us doing the whole thing in this single show tonight. This is going to be a return at some point.
Okay.
This is, I mean, because this show itself, Nerdgasm, we're doing it once a month. That means on average, literally 12 episodes a year, as long as I keep deciding to do it. There are only so many franchises we can always go around to. And honest, this is SG-1. We're not even touching Atlantis tonight. So
or universe.
And I'm very careful about even want to do that myself because my own feelings universe. But let's keep going. Devil, hi. Glad you could be here because I know you're busy with the job and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, happy to be here. Love in fact, everyone's seen here saying I haven't seen it for a year and stuff. I literally just ended watching that and Atlantis back to back like less than 2 months ago. So and that was about my 6th or 7th time watching through them. So
yeah. And it's did you watch the movies too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Then you're okay, good. All right, you're fine. Gal, are you ready? I know you've been on other shows recently talking Stargate, so I know you're feeling
Well,
powerful.
I'm so upset at Fractured because he decided that when he was finally going to start his show of like kind of like watch along type stuff like y'all did with the Star Trek Engage shit, this man decided that he was going to do it on a Saturday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time.
Ooh. That's like in between 3 different streams we all do.
No wonder I haven't seen his show.
I was just like, when I said that I would love to nerd out at this, it did not mean like literally right exactly when I already have a show.
Yeah, and we all have shows during that window well into the night.
And at least with yours, it's not like every Saturday, so I can be like, hey Sam, I really want to talk about this movie with Jed and Adam. Can I miss an episode?
And we don't go the whole time either because we can finish driving and you can still hop over to Sam.
Yeah.
Fine. Anyway, so how you doing? You feeling good? Feeling ready for this?
Good. Yeah.
You've seen it all the way through, right? You've been all the way to the end. Yeah. Okay. I'm just checking.
I mean, sure. It's been a while since I've seen it full, and you guys know how my memory is, most of you at least. So I won't be able to like in depth.
Yeah. Listen, we got to remember, I'm a mutant. I remember shit that people shouldn't remember. So don't try and keep up with the fact that I'll remember minutia crap or I'll remember this and that. Just let's let it flow. And listen, I'm going to be happy at points just to let you guys take the lead and talk about stuff because this is about us enjoying this glorious franchise. And so I'll start with this. I'll start with at least my coming back to it when I came back to it. I remember it was 1998. I was away at school, and suddenly, out of nowhere, on network television, here comes Stargate SG-1. I'm like, wait, what the hell is this? What's this? Did they make a sequel? I know they made some books that nobody read, but did they make a sequel? And then I just started watching, and I saw him. I went, oh shit, it's MacGyver. Cool. All right, MacGyver's here. All right, I'll watch this. And I started watching it about, I would say, a third. No, actually, no. I picked up season 1, and then they had a couple of repeat things, so I managed to catch up. And then I was there. I got locked in immediately. And the problem was this, though. I didn't know at the time it was originally airing on Showtime. Therefore, I was watching a season behind on network television. Now, fortunately, this is late 90s, so there wasn't current day internet where people would spoil shit. So I was living in blissful ignorance, just watching along every end of every season until season 5 ended or was ending. And then problem was this. Suddenly there was the fear. It said, Showtime says we've canceled it. And it was just like, what? What are you doing?
You can't do this.
I remember right. It was it actually hit syndication on multiple channels, including UPN, which is where I started watching it after season 5 aired, before they got cleared for season 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what I remember, this is how I dealt with season 5. So I was still watching season 4 when the cancellation came out. So what I did was, this is early, I'll just say it, early piracy. And I was on my local area network, a good old LAN at school. So I actually had decent internet. And they were actually airing it ahead of time in Europe for some reason. So I tracked down a really sketchy website back then. And I just did these marathon downloads to get the shittiest quality copy you could imagine, so that
Was it called LimeWire or BearShare?
No, it was like a regular HTML website. They just had this shit up there. This is pre-torrents. This is just straight up, here's a link, you could download it. That's how, pre everything. So I got the shittiest, smallest 480 by 3, whatever you could get, 4:3 aspect ratio.
Probably less than that, 360.
No, well, it was 360, but it was 4:3 ratio. It was the shittiest quality, and I managed to get my hands on all of season 5 just in time to be ready for season 6, because Sci-Fi Channel, when it was really Sci-Fi Channel, it swooped in and said, "Hey, we're gonna pick it up, and we're gonna improve it in terms of budget. We're gonna give it a big ass budget, and we're gonna keep going." And then from that point forward, thanks to Sci-Fi Channel, Friday night, boom. Like,
and we're talking about, actual Sci-Fi Channel that knows how to spell science fiction.
Not Siffy.
Yeah, it was pre-Siffy. That's for sure.
Pre-Siffy.
See, I never knew non-Siffy. I didn't even know they had changed the spelling.
Forget you're young.
Shit, dude, when they started up Sci-Fi Channel back in like what was it, like 92 or some shit like that?
Yeah.
They were doing all day fucking anime marathons on Saturdays.
Or Jed, you would appreciate this, or they were showing retro Doctor Who episodes back in the day.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's how I found Doctor Who for the very first time.
Yeah.
Because original Sci-Fi Channel was showing Doctor Who, but that's a different nerdgasm. That's a different nerdgasm. The difference for that particular type of show. But here, so Sci-Fi Channel picked it up, and then it was just keep going. Then we got Atlantis, we got Universe, we got the movies, and I'll say it now because I'm famous saying it. And then because Obama killed the DVD market, we didn't get everything we were supposed to get. Yeah, I said it again.
It's part of why. Yes.
Obama.
I've said it again. Anyway, so let's get back in the Wayback Machine, at least for the old men here. Because Ryan mentioned it, Children of the Gods, parts 1 and 2. It's messy but beautiful.
Well,
yes.
Okay, so hold on real quick. All right, so the original Stargate movie came out in '96, right? And then you had the continuance in '94. Was it '94? Okay, thank you. My apologies. So anyway, my dad and I watched the original Stargate movie together. It's where I got my love of watching movies with my dad. So he saw Stargate SG-1, this straight to DVD thing, and he brought it home. Well, there was a whole lot of naked in it for a certain woman who was really attractive.
For like 2 seconds, but yes.
Okay, well, it was...
Shari, you saw Shari's boom booms.
Okay.
You saw more than just a boom boom.
You saw her Merkin, dude.
You carved the carpet and the drapes. Yeah.
So me,
I need to watch this version.
So
I haven't.
Wait,
It's in my collection. It's there.
No, the version that's on Amazon that I've been watching is the TV version. So there's no nudity.
They edited that out.
The DVD version is the original pilot episode. So
that's very true. So
didn't know that was a thing.
Mhm.
Always known the Tatas.
I didn't know that was a thing either until Samuel told me that. So anyway, my dad and I are watching that. I wasn't in high school yet. I started high school in 1999. So,
That's when I was born.
God.
Kid, I was out of high school.
I always look for the opportunities to slip that in.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, I was pretty close.
They are pretty old.
Kind of like Germany slips it in your ass. No, I'm kidding.
He's not here. He shall not be mentioned.
But he was on Twitter. No, so anyway, long story short, since Titanic, I had not seen this, right? No, before Titanic, I had not. So this was like, and it was just my dad and I watching the movie. And he kind of looked at me and I looked at him and he's like, all right. My mom was not around. He didn't care. So that was kind of my introduction to Stargate SG-1. And then I, of course, later on started watching the show and it was nowhere near what the first introduction was, but it's still an incredible show. So, but yes, I was a little later to the party after that when it came to sci-fi, not sci-fi. Yeah, and I understand what sci-fi is.
Sci-fi. We don't want sci-fi is when everything got bad.
It's like a cute, affectionate shortening of syphilis.
I don't even know when it started getting called that, like when they changed. I have literal
writer strike, 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say The Expanse, the early season of Expanse from sci-fi.
It's about when
that was 2016.
They were still doing some good stuff up till about 2013, but sci-fi started around like 2006, 2007, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it was finalized roughly about 2008 because WWE ECW was on sci-fi, and they had changed over fully the logo to that.
Yeah, and the wrestling kind of took over a science fiction channel.
Yeah.
So I stopped watching a lot of shit after that.
2009, it says.
Okay, yeah. So,
July 2009, yeah.
That makes sense because I was in the military and was not paying attention to any of that, like literally in boot camp that January. So that's why I didn't know that.
The golden era for Sci-Fi Channel was like 2003 to 2009.
Yeah, and I mean by then, Stargate, that was the end of season 1 of Universe, I think, with 09.
Yeah, someone. I think so. Yeah,
I was in Florida, so I think so.
They kept.
Yeah, you'd be right. I think because SG-1 ended in I think 1997 or 98, and
no, you mean Atlantis. Atlantis
or no, 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. Yeah, I got back.
Yeah.
I'm old, dude. I get time mixed up. Sometimes decades at a time.
Same age, October 2nd, 2009.
Yeah. Anyway, off topic. Let's get back to the actual show. So,
I mean, was it really? Oh, well, Universe.
All right, yeah. But all right. So, Devil, when did you first get into SG-1?
Oh, okay. I saw the movie when it first came out, way back in the before time. And I didn't really watch the show at first. I liked the movie. I thought it was okay, not the best, but I enjoyed it. And then I started getting into Star Trek. What? Talking shit. I started watching Star Trek. Watched all the way up to the end of Voyager, and it got me like where I wanted more sci-fi, and I was kind of jonesing for it. So I was all like, okay, what other show from sci-fi have I not watched? And so I started getting into other shows, watching other shows, and so that's when I started watching SG-1. It just, there was plenty of seasons of it, and that's what I like, is the kind where you have 10 seasons, so you can really kill time with it, and not like one season, like Firefly. I love Firefly, but I just hate that you only have one season.
Yeah.
And so I started watching it, and I saw what's her name naked, and I went, oh my god, this is gonna be a great show.
Well, listen. Aside from that, SG-1 and Atlantis, they knew how to get the period of the 80s.
Yeah, I was all like, I can't wait to see Amanda Tappy
Not just the
naked.
ladies.
Oh yeah, well, listen, it was across the board. But thing is, and we'll come back to this later. They had a history of poaching other franchises for guest spots and returning characters, and I love it. All right, keep going, Double. Sorry.
So yeah, I was, but it ended up being one of my favorite shows. You just get so into it, and I love that the humorous kind of bend that it has, that they didn't take themselves too seriously and make it like the movie where it's very intense and stuff. It's comical, but that's one of the things I like most about it. And so yeah, I ended up, like I said, I've seen it fully way through probably 6, maybe 7 times.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, for me, it's been 10 or more because before I ever had it on, I've only had it on physical media for 10 years now. But before that, when sci-fi was sci-fi, they had that shit on repeat all the time.
Yes.
Once they owned it. And I would just watch it constantly. I mean, all right, Gal, when did you walk through the gate for the first time?
So that is a hard question for me because I was a kid for all of those things. Sam will be right back. He put it in YouTube chat. Yeah. So like I don't have this clear memory of like I watched it with the family, the movie. And then I don't know if we started the show when it immediately started or not. I just remember my dad watched the movie and loved the movie. The family watched the movie and loved the movie. And then the show comes out and we all fucking love MacGyver. So of course, no, like I don't remember caring, like I was a kid, that it was that Daniel and Jack were different. Like I don't have any strong feelings. Yeah. I don't remember if my dad did or anything. I just remember loving it as a kid and my family loved it. So it was all gravy, just sitting on the floor, looking up at the TV over like the super old school, really tall TV stand that had the game cupboard under it. I don't know if anyone else had that, but that was life.
I had a version. I had a cabinet of my own.
Yeah, it was like this giant cabinet where like there was an empty space. It's kind of like this thing actually.
Yeah.
But like more intense, and like the movies, like the VHS, the VCR, all that stuff. And then you open the cupboard at the bottom and it's your board games. But anyway, that's the nostalgia that I have for it, is just like parents were sitting on the couch. Maybe the older kids were on the couch and the rest of the kids were on the floor watching it. And I don't know if I finished it like as a kid or like through high school or whatever. I know for a fact that I finished it as an adult, which just I loved it more. I don't think that like when I was younger that I finished it because I didn't remember the change that Jed apparently doesn't like.
No, that's not the problem. Okay. It just coincides with part of the problem.
Okay. But yeah, so my memory of it is a lot different because it was childhood and then finishing it in adulthood. And it just made it so much better because I was able to understand things, and like it did what Supernatural did better, and it was first with like the Groundhog's Day episode.
Hands down.
It is still, listen, the Groundhog Day episode for years, and of course I haven't seen one of these for years. The Groundhog Day episode was always voted by the fandom the #1 episode forever.
It is a great one.
Amazing.
I mean, just because for so many reasons it's great, but also because in just one loop, us Sam and Jack people, we got that one moment before the it's like I mean, that's why
great.
Season 4 is probably my favorite season for a lot of reasons, because they did so many different things. They worked on so many different plot arcs, this and that. And by that point, we're so far in. There's been so much character work, so much character development, that we have so many stories that we're waiting to happen. I mean, we've had Jack has evolved so much beyond what he was. Teal'c has gone through several evolutions of his character. Daniel's on a completely different trajectory than when the show started at this point.
He got over his allergies.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Sam has already buried a couple of boyfriends at this point, as the meme goes.
Well,
And
Daniel
He's
had a
way
girl on
too
every
good for
planet.
all of them.
Yeah. And
That's
and at this point, we've had numerous excellent guest stars and all that kind of stuff.
Freaking Jonas.
You have we're not even at Jonas yet at that
I
point.
know, but he was a good.
But it's, so much has happened on season 4, and it also at season 4, it started to get us had a look to it at that point for me. You know, it had a kind of a fresh look to it.
Well, season 4 was where they were trying to get past the campiness a little bit, and it was also a lot closer to the end of Apophis being like the main threat.
Yeah, you
right?
had one more season of
a few times after that, but that's really just like the end of him being like the threat. Then all of a sudden, it's not just Apophis anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's definitely a good thing, getting away from Apophis.
All right, yeah, Jed, you did not like Apophis at all, did you?
No, the first 5 seasons are what I absolutely love. That's where I think it's an incredible show. And like you're saying, I think season 4 would be my favorite as well. But I was just never sold on the Goa'uld as villains, especially with Apophis. I found him cheesy, unthreatening, and just generally would roll my eyes when he would join an episode. I preferred the standalone episodes that were more in the episodic format. Or the serial. And yeah, it was just the character work is what I loved, and villains are difficult for a lot of shows and films, so I forgave it for the fact that their villain
You
was
just
so
don't like
weak.
effeminate men.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
that might be it. That might be it. But I wanted more interesting villains, like the replicators. Once they started showing up,
I was gonna ask what everybody's big bad, favorite big bad was.
Before we get onto that, let's go back to this effeminate men thing. All right. First of all, everybody should understand. No, you're absolutely right about this. Everybody should understand that Apophis is a little bit effeminate, but not compared to his fucking brother. And yes, in the lore, Ra is Apophis's brother.
Yeah.
He was a little pussy, man. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the movie they had the near ladyboy playing in the movie, so
yeah.
Jeremy really liked that part.
It had a lot of issues.
Talking about him for once.
Why is it like a subconscious thing? Every stream, somebody. Why?
Because anytime you have some sort of gay situation, Dermy just fucking fits. Okay,
I'm sorry. It was my fault.
Phrasing.
I brought him up first. My bad.
Apophis. So Stargate.
But yeah, Apophis I think is an upgrade from Ra. I will say that the movie I found is interesting, especially with the Stargate concept. But this is one of the few times that I think the recast actor is better than the original, and that applies to both Daniel and Jack. I 100% believe that for both. That's a rare thing for me. I usually prefer originals in that sense, but the show is just a massive upgrade. Massive upgrade.
RDA and Michael Shanks, they are Captain Jack. I'll go away.
Jack
General Jack O'Neill, 2 L's. 2 L's.
Brigadier
Brigadier. Well, actually, if you go all the way to Universe, he's got 3 stars at that point.
Whoa,
sure.
That takes a while.
Yeah. Jack made it all the way to 3 stars, just like by the time. All right, people watching live on the replay, there's going to be tangential shit. This is how we roll around here. We will go on tangents away from where I even start a conversation. One of the best things I love about watching this show is watching the proper rank advancement for our heroes, especially watching Jack eventually get to general school, but watching Sam's rank advancement to me is cool because she does it.
Yeah, from major to full-blown colonel. Yeah,
she wasn't major for that long though.
Well, that's years, dude. That's years.
No, I know, but in at least where
she was she was captain and then she was major and then
she was major for 3 seasons.
Colonel and colonel.
Yeah, she made lieutenant colonel in season 7 because I don't remember. Shit. Now it all blurs together for a minute there.
So
but
when you.
It's 10 seasons, dude.
reminds me, one of my favorite things is one of the, like, I don't know, the second or third episode overall, just in general, is when the Marines come in, because I'm a Marine. I like watching it, like when I started over the first time as an adult. I'm pretty sure it was post Marines for me. I just loved the dynamic between the Chair Force and the Marines because they got it so freaking spot on. I forgive them for like flagging each other with their weapons and fingers, triggers, and like
lots of that
freaking chicken winging, shooting things. I also forgive freaking Daniel, the way he at the end of season 1, he was shooting, like he's holding the freaking AR.
He had when he's holding
shooting
the line,
gangster.
When he's holding the line on the Hatak while everybody's escaping, he's I was
to be fair, Daniel's not military.
And I know, and that's why I'm like, I forgive you, especially because you're the civvy on the freaking team. But there are so many good things that they do, and especially for the 90s, I forgive. You know, for the early aughts, I forgive.
The early couple of seasons, as shaky as all the stuff, they get better about that stuff.
Yes, and that was going to be my next point with it, because all they had to do was get better at it, and they did.
Yeah.
So
they got better at it because they had Air Force representation on set, making sure that they were getting better, making sure that they didn't misrepresent, air quotes, the Air Force. So, I mean, that was a big part of it, is that the Air Force has always been very fucking involved with these shows, so much so that I think it was in Continuum, they actually crashed a nuclear submarine up through the Arctic fucking ice shelf so that these guys could film it for their movie.
For that.
Yes.
Yeah, and there, I believe, and I forget which episode it was, but they even did bring in at one point the Air Force Chief of Staff at one point.
Yep.
To as a special guest star, just to say, and where he turned where I remember, I forget the episode right now. Forgive me, everybody. I am shit with episodes. Even 20 years on, I'm shit with episode titles. So don't. When I quote shit, I'm not quoting it because I remember an episode title. I remember events. There's the beginning of an episode where Jack comes into Hammond's office and he starts doing the Jack thing. And when he leaves, the actual commander of the Air Force was there, the general in charge, and he turns to Hammond and says, "Oh, you got a real wild one on your hands there, George." That was the real guy. So I just thought that was kind of cool.
And that actually shows the quality of not only the writing for the show, like it all just progressed as it went, and it didn't fall into the common every show past season 5 just completely falls off and goes off the rails. Like it didn't really follow that. It is a great completion with the movies.
You know why I hold, because in season 3, Dom DeLuise's eldest son, I just suddenly forgot his first name. The eldest son
Peter.
of Peter DeLuise, he took over as showrunner, and he really just put it on a path, and he kept it there, and he made sure that they just kept going straight. And also, I always found it amusing. Every once in a while, he'd do a cameo, like his head would like pop in someplace and this and that. And
I always love the fact that he inserts himself. I think later on as one of Sam's doomed boyfriends.
No, that's his little brother.
Oh, was that his brother? Yeah,
it was his brother. No,
See, I would wrep myself in as Sam's boyfriend. I don't care if I'm doomed. I want a few minutes.
He didn't die though.
Well, he didn't die. He just
they broke up.
It was a doomed relationship.
Actually, she cucked him for Jack. She cucked him for Jack, and it was like, yes, you damn you, Pete, go fuck off. When she started dating Pete, I was like, no. It was bad enough in season 5 when what's his name? Sean Patrick Flannery descended and took human form.
Right.
He was still in love with her. That was bad enough. I hate that episode, by the way.
That was the one where he built the homemade Stargate in her fucking basement.
That one was bad.
Out of toaster parts.
Most of her boyfriends I hate.
I hate all her boyfriends.
The FBI guy was really rough.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
he
he had a hard on for her, and she never reciprocated. That was the thing.
Right.
Hey, so are you free now? No, I love it. I love it in season 8. No, season 9. He says to her when they're tracking down. Shit, I just forgot his name. He's dead now,
Ball?
though. The actor's dead. Ball, thank you, Ball. When they're tracking down all the Ball clones.
He's dead.
Yeah, oh yeah, he
All
died
the
a few years
balls.
ago. Oh yeah.
There's an
Ball's
episode
up.
where they say balls like 8,000 times.
When he joined
Oh God, I gotta watch that one.
I haven't got there yet.
okay,
I
so
haven't
anyway,
either, so-
there's the moment there where he says, "So are you free now?" And this is post end of season 8, and she goes, "Not really," because she's keeping her. She is involved with Jack now, and they're keeping it on the super down low. So,
and like you know, in Atlanta. Oh my God,
you know what? We can't talk Atlantis. Atlantis is off the table.
I stopped.
There's also
I watched the first 2 episodes because that's what I was advised to do.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen though. But
I actually, when
need
I
to get
do,
sold.
I follow like a guide when I get to those points.
Here's my tip, and I will say this now. I've said before, say it again. This is the official discussion though. When you start merging season 8 of SG-1 and season 1 of Atlantis, you start with the SG-1 premiere, the 2-parter. Then you stop. You go watch the Atlantis premiere.
That's what I did.
Then you stop and you go back and finish your. Well, for me, it's my first disc. You'll have to track what the discs are. But I finished the first disc of season 8. Then I go back and finish the first disc of Atlantis, and then I go SG-1 Atlantis, SG-1 Atlantis for my discs. That's how I do it, and it works out because there are certain things that must line up. Certain events in Atlantis must happen before they happen in SG-1, and certain events in SG-1 must happen before they happen in Atlantis. Now, so we got to put Atlantis on the shelf. That's a whole different continuation discussion.
But I do love how they did that. So talking Stargate SG-1, but with a dash of Atlantis.
Well, they had to do it concurrently because it was taking place. They did a similar thing with the latter part of TNG and Deep Space Nine, and the first part of Voyager and the latter part of Deep Space Nine all overlaps.
Yeah. Because there are guest swaps at certain points, like Data's Dream episode, Bashir's and that one. Anyway, not Star Trek, SG-1. So when Peter DeLuise came in, he put it on a really good track. They kept it, and they stuck with it, and they experimented going on. Of course, and it led to one of my favorite all-time episodes, Ergo. I love Tom DeLuise episode. I want to live. I want to feel things. I want to eat pie.
That guy
Ergo was fucking annoying, but he was funny.
That was a wild episode.
It's Dom DeLuise at his best. See, here's what I love, that once in a while SG-1 managed to do that Star Trek TNG never managed to do. You get the harmless day in the life almost episode where shit just happens and we're not at a threat level. We're not worrying about this shit, and it works. But then again, let's bring it back to Groundhog Day, where the majority of that episode is light and happy. A lot of humorous things, a lot of great physical comedy from Teal'c. Jack doing funny shit. But then at the very end, it flips a switch when they finally get it all done, and they're going to go back to the device, and the dude who is also aware of what's going on because he got hit by the lightning just like Jack and Teal'c did. And he says, "Do you have any idea what it's like to lose my life?" And just in a split second, Jack goes, "I lost my son!" And then that cuts to Sam, and she just goes, it's that is how good this show can be, and how they can manage light and shift to serious enough, just like that.
And see, when I started talking about it, like, the writing is everything in this show, but also just what you were saying before, Sam, where they brought in actual military so they can get those things right. It's not even, it's just the entire operation of it was just so in sync with itself, and knowing what it was is perfection.
How come I never got to do a cool job like that when I was in the Air Force? I would have loved to.
I don't know.
They didn't.
I would have been the fodder as the Marines. Come on.
They didn't scout you out for it.
I was, not born yet when they were looking, so that might hamper on my chances.
You've never been to Cheyenne Mountain. You don't know what's down there.
No.
When I was there is a broom closet in Cheyenne Mountain labeled Stargate Command. It does exist. I've seen pictures.
You know how close
and the Air Force has talked about it.
That's so awesome.
I have a drafted tweet where it is tagging Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. And it is specifically about this show and the budget cuts. Because I was watching the freaking episode with Kinsey, like the first episode with Kinsey. God, I hate that man. And I was just like,
Kinsey was a great villain.
You wouldn't cut the budget for SG Command, would you? Like that's I have a tweet just sitting. I'm like, do I send this? Because I feel like Elon would
listen.
Cut everything but the SGC, okay?
Listen, after season 5, episode 1, where after season 5, episode 100, where they do the spoof episode of the TV series, and they say we're doing this for plausible deniability.
Wormhole Extreme. That's right.
When they did that,
I was going to bring that up too.
My little nerd brain would say, "Okay, this entire show is plausible deniability. Stargate exists. Stargate exists. I want to believe
that was kind of the point. Yeah, they were.
They were not.
That was sort of.
And then they follow that up later with the guy who's having visions of Jack and is writing the story about it. I love when stories can get meta like that.
God, that was
kind of make fun of
You know
themselves.
why they did that, Jed? You know that is the voice of Homer Simpson. And Richard Dean Anderson is a massive Simpsons fan, so they made it so that they could get him on the episode for that.
Well, that's why they cast Dan Castellaneta. Yeah, but man, that episode is very well written for a clip show. It's fucking incredible.
And see, that was also going to be my other point with the Supernatural thing. They did what Supernatural did, but better and before.
I was thinking the same thing. The same self-deprecating jokes, like, "Oh yeah, bugs and Supernatural." That was a bad one. I have to admit that. And they did the same thing with this. Like, that was a bad episode. I'm not gonna lie.
So good. And like, I love what Supernatural did, at least through the seasons that I didn't stop watching at. And I just, when I do my rewatches of Stargate, I always think that I'm just like, I'm so glad that they started this kind of.
Yeah. Well, they use a lot of the same actors too. There's a lot these two have crossover for. And Amanda Tapping directing some of both.
Yep.
Yes.
That's Stargate SG-1. Once they got farther and farther down the road, it allowed those actors to start expanding themselves. I mean, I remember before we got to it, I said, Jed, wait for season 6 and Christopher Judge's first directed episode where Teal'c and Braytak get ambushed at a Jaffa rebellion meeting site and he's switching the symbiote back and forth. That episode is fantastic.
I think Chris Judge broke the story on that one too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, he was credited.
Christopher Judge is such an underrated actor. Even just because when you first brought this up in the group chat, I was just like, oh, well, I needed an excuse to start rewatching it again. It just reminded me of how great of an actor he is just in season 1.
Oh,
it's insane.
It's here. All right, let's talk Teal'c. All right, let's stop dancing around stuff. Let's talk Teal'c. Arguably, next to Jack, the greatest character in the entire series. Arguably, just because from a character writing standpoint,
I think it's Lieutenant Siler, but okay.
I don't need to hear that from you. All right, we don't need to go down that kind of
dude. Nothing happens without Siler. Okay, he keeps the place running.
Is that a line?
He just almost dies every time.
How you doing, Siler? I'm fine, sir.
That's the other meta type.
By the way, he was played by the stunt coordinator.
Really, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah,
that's why they kept fucking him up real bad.
Siler suffers a lot of battle damage through the whole thing. It is funny. It's a meta thing. I know. But Teal'c. And with Christopher Judge's performance, you start in season 1 when, first of all, he's still got the makeup on. He's kind of shiny, a little golden.
Yep.
Got the eyeliner.
Yep.
And for literally 2/3 of the season, just frowns his way through everything. But
I still kind of hated him. I got to be honest, because I was still somebody who
Yeah, well,
watched
we
the
can kick
original
you,
movie.
so.
Well, that's fine. I mean, but I grew to love him. I'm going to say that.
Mhm.
Like, so,
It's practically
Well,
impossible not to.
you have
that
the
frown
weird-
and the eyebrow together is just unbeatable.
Mhm.
I mean, but see, Christopher Judge in that first season, it's all about emoting. He is monosyllable, with the exception of a couple episodes. He's monosyllable and everything. We don't even realize that Indeed is going to become a catchphrase.
Iconic.
We don't realize it yet. You only
That's
said
my
it
favorite
once in
game.
God of War 2018 too. You only said it once.
Indeed has become so much more than a catchphrase. It's fucking cultural now.
I know it is.
And you have to say it like
Because
him
of Chris
too.
Judge.
Indeed.
I was just gonna say,
Indeed.
even though like I can't actually hear it in my head, getting that off the table, out on the table, before I say this,
now who's getting kicked?
I
I'm kidding.
say it in my head. Like I have to say it that way. Like
Wait,
my imagination.
Is
it
that how you're going to actually learn to say things in your head because of Teal'c and Christopher
Oh
Judge?
Jesus,
and
we're not
Indeed?
doing this again.
That's why I said it, because like I now have to preface that because it's out in the open to the internet. Like, oh well, you can't actually hear it. Shut the fuck up. Let me say the phrase.
Indeed.
But
for my money, my personal favorite thing that Teal'c said on more than one occasion, which is definitely not a catchphrase, it was just his grasp of Earth colloquialisms has always been kind of hilariously off.
Yes.
Right. So whenever he would, say he was going to do something, they're like, "Oh, you're really going to come?" And he'd be like, "Undomesticated equines could not drag me away."
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite
Yeah, that's a good one.
And they bring it back later. In
Yeah.
towards the end, where suddenly it's full emotion Teal'c, where he can fully smile and he's got hair, and we'll get to that transition in a bit. That listen, when you go through 7 years of the man being bald, and then suddenly he's got hair, it was just
they wrote it into the script.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. It
Sam
was
comes up
jarring.
to him, she's like, "You have hair."
He did have hair in the first season for one episode. It was just like a top knot, and it was in an alternate universe.
That was alternate universe. That was still
know.
evil Teal'c. He was currently wiping life off the face of planet Earth at the time. Different dude.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. I honestly, I'm okay with like, and I know I was gonna say about Jade, like Atlantis Teal'c hair was just it was cool. I liked it. Anyway, back to regular stuff. So Teal'c's evolution, you start off in season 1 and you don't learn this until season 8, that throughout these early parts of the series, no matter, even though he said we're fighting for freedom, we're fighting against false gods, he didn't really believe it deep down inside. We don't learn that until season 8.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to watch his evolution of somebody breaking free from the indoctrination. Even though we learned in season 5, Braytak taught him how to play the game when he was training to be First Prime of Apophis. But to watch him grow and get more and more, for lack of a better term, human. And for Christopher Judge to go from frowny, one eyebrow, to emoting and smiling and actually having these deep moments.
And significantly less golden.
Yeah, and by season 3, he looks like a normal black man. Let's be honest. Normal black to season 3. But for me, some of the best moments, and we're going to jump to season 5 for this. It's the beginning of season 5, after they have basically when they have to reboot him from the brainwashing. And Braytak rips out the symbiote and he's forcing him to relive his past. Watching his history.
That's fucking hard to watch too.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, he will now either live because he wants to, or he accepts the truth, or he will die. God, I love Braytak.
Janet's like, you can't do this in my fucking med bay.
Oh, don't mention Janet. I haven't
It's too
emotionally
soon
recovered
for you, isn't
yet.
it?
Yeah,
Oh my
too
God.
soon.
We all
hard
do, dude.
to.
We all do, Jed.
Dude, all right. So I'm doing the 24-hour stream, and Jed comes in towards the end,
Oh no.
And right at that point, it was the milking. How much are we going to make you suffer? I've been up for 25 hours at that point, and we're on our way to 26, which is why I'm the 26-hour man. And Jed comes in there, drops a chat to suffer. You didn't tell me it was going to happen to Janet. I'm like, Janet, and then it took a second. I'm like,
he could have. Come on.
Heroes
I
parts
didn't.
1 and 2. Yeah,
I purposefully did not spoil that because
I mentioned that I really liked her before that,
and I just went like this.
Oh, that must have been hard. Oh God.
Yeah.
not as hard as
Janet
it was
was
when we looked
great.
at the calendar shoots.
Yeah.
That episode is so well done too. There are
That's
so
beautiful.
many, but that one.
That had a great that episode is great also because you get Adam Baldwin's SG team, which is hilarious what they're doing there.
You
But
also
then you get that
you also get
battle
one of
that's
the
going on.
Yes, but you also get one of the single best monologues ever delivered by Saul Rubinek. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. And but getting back to Teal'c though, god damn it. You do it, you get his backstory, his full backstory, and it leads right back to the pilot. That's one of the reasons I love that episode, because it's back in that key moment where they're breaking out of the prison, and Jack says, I can save these people. Help me. And Teal'c says in that moment, that's the moment he turns, says, many people have said that. But you're the first one I believe that could do it. Boom. Ah.
It's so funny because like it's such a cliche type of thing to say and moment, so it's somewhat cringy, but at the same time it's not because of what it means.
Well, it's clunky dialogue too. I mean, like he's in the middle of
absolutely.
trying to start up an action sequence, but he's got to get this like honky line out at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
And
But
like
it does
an
feel
obvious
pretty Teal'c though once we find out more about him.
it's one of those things that it's very, very like 90s, and that's something I love so much, right? You know, and it's one of those things that I love these shows from the 90s. Like I love the X-Files. I don't care. I love Friends. I love just it's all so good, and it's the dialogue is so corny, but it's so good at the same time because it puts a smile on your face, and I think that's why it works, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, Devil, go ahead. Go ahead, Devil. You want to say something?
No, I was just agreeing.
Well, what it does is, and I know Jed, you can understand this when I say this for all the shows we watch, they get you connected to all these characters. We care about Teal'c's mission and journey to liberate the Jaffa from their slavery. We care about Braytak, who is a side character. I mean,
God, Braytek's awesome though.
Jed, when you're watching the season 7 finale and the traitorous Jaffa just stabs Braytak, you're going, no. Where you go? You're going, no. And then Braytak goes, yeah, if I had a symbiote, that would have killed me. But I drank serotonin. And it's just, the fact that Braytak makes it all the way to the end is glorious. It's glorious.
Well, I do have to say, Braytak, great absolute character, really fleshes out Teal'c a lot. But as soon as we met Ryak, I started to care about, Teal'c's story a little bit less, his backstory.
All right,
A little less empathy. Just Ryak his child was better.
Fuck Ryak.
He's got a kid.
Oh God,
His
when and
wife
Ryak's
was rough,
wife. Oh God, that
that
feminist
episode.
bullshit.
Okay. The wedding
I do like
episode.
that she got like bitch slapped metaphorically in that
all right.
episode.
The wedding.
So that scene with Ryak.
All right, but that episode is great because of Jolene Blaylock. Oh, Jolene
Sure.
Blaylock. But also, it is also a great episode minus the Ryak bullshit. Go ahead.
So the best Ryak scene that they ever filmed was in the very early on, when Ryak had been taken and brainwashed by Apophis, right? And Teal'c gets him back, and he has to deprogram him. So how does he do it? Electroshock therapy with the Zac gun repeatedly. He just keeps fucking shocking the shit out of him.
Your own son calling you a Chauvel, I'd have Bex slammed this on me.
Boy.
Yeah, keep in mind, Ryak was like 12 at the time. So
Yeah.
But
Disciplining children.
don't feel bad. Ryak sucks. Everybody hates Ryak.
He's
Nobody likes
awful.
Ryak.
But I will say I knew it would have to come up at some point. But since you mentioned the season 7 finale and that scene specifically, I hate that episode. It might be my most disliked episode of the entire show, besides the dumb individual ones. But as a finale, it's definitely my least favorite finale. And the line that dialogue with Braytech in that very scene that you mentioned, I was cringing. It was too much.
No,
you
guys.
may have youth, but you don't have wisdom. Just his delivery, I was just
love that's my favorite finale, you heathen.
And Braytech, that's the thing I was messaging you in chat. It's like, this is gonna piss him off. But yeah, when he got stabbed, Braytech just goes, "I have been betrayed." Yeah, we could figure that out. Thank you. You get stabbed by someone who was your friend 5 minutes ago. No way.
Seven seasons later, you haven't figured out Braytech's a little bit dramatic.
Right. I was just gonna say that's
it
just
was so above and beyond, and that's just a minor thing with that episode.
How could you like the battle at the Antarctic? It's glorious.
The ship part of it was fun. I hated the Deus Ex Machina solution. It just felt so easy. And until we find out later that, until we find out later that Anubis didn't die in that episode, it's like, oh yeah, for all intents and purposes, he's dead. Yeah, that was super easy, right? Yeah, 2 seconds. We've been building it up to him for years and years and years, and then he's like, "We're coming right now. 72 hours, and the end is here." And then, oh yeah, we just turned on some tech, and he died in 2 seconds. I mean,
they did the devil dirty in that show.
They did him very dirty.
Anubis wasn't really alive to begin with, and he didn't really die. So,
but from the perspective of the episode, that was the impression that was given until you find out later. But yeah, they've been building it up for so long, building up Anubis. The only real cool thing he done in the entire show was the scene with Ascended Daniel at the end of season 6, I believe. That I think is Anubis' best moment. But and then we're finally here. We're finally to the Anubis finale. He's like, he's coming right now. Oh, okay. We're jumping right into it. Oh, and yeah, he's done.
But he wasn't done. But he wasn't done. And
but that's
he became a space bugger.
The feeling for the fresh eyes is
that's from a fresh perspective. Even with hindsight, they didn't do much with him afterwards. I will say part of the reason why I am not a fan of what I'm watching at this point is there was a decline in writing, in my opinion, especially with that finale, but it culminated in the episode with the Sam Replicator, who I think is one of the most interesting potential villains. We didn't really get a whole lot of her, but she had a lot of potential. But the episode where she was defeated at the same time as the System Lords and the Jaffa got their freedom, that's what I saw.
Yeah, that was a little crunched in together.
It's rushed.
Yeah. It was crunched, but it felt like it resolved so many of the stories that after that, I've ever since felt like we're just meandering along. I'm just getting introduced to the other ascended being, the Ori, and it just feels like, we're kind of done, but we're going on anyway. Like the main characters, they're all just kind of fading away.
How dare you? Hallowed are the Ori.
All hallowed are the Ori. Now, here's why.
Just not interested. I've watched that as the series finale and just call it quits on rewatch.
No, it works better when you're watching Atlantis because you get more on the ancients, you understand more of their thinking, and you're not alone.
The animated intro that was added on for season 9, at least the animated intro, the credit sequence is awful.
Animated intro.
Yeah, the title sequence or whatever.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that. I don't
season
recall
9. The other seasons of Stargate, they had the practical effect of the Stargate, right?
They
animated it season 9.
See that I all the years watching it just kind of I never noticed that. But
it really grabbed my attention. But
it meshed together.
Yeah, it was really weird. But so that's why I say the recast, or not the recast, but the replacement of Jack and the replacement of Hammond, who I love Hammond.
Well, Donis Davis died.
Don Davis died.
He died in 2009, so that was after the.
But he had cancer, so he couldn't keep going on with the show.
I'm not a fan of his replacement so far, but again,
Bo Bridges could suck my dick. I hate Bo Bridges.
Okay.
my
So
point is
Bo
that's
Bridges
why-
grows on you as you go along the
does.
seasons. Like at the beginning, I'll agree.
I-
He
I-
sucks
does
ass.
the
I just got the
Ori in
reveal that the
general.
doctor's his daughter. That's where I'm at. Is I just got
Lexa
that
Doy.
reveal.
Lexa Doy, baby.
She's no Janet. She's no Janet.
she's-
You can't replace
I
Janet.
agree. I agree with Jed
I
on this
agree.
one. She
Well,
is
yeah.
no Janet.
She's no Janet.
But just to finish my point real fast, that's why when talking to Gal earlier, that's why the replacement of Jack and the replacement of Hammond takes a backseat to my overall problems. It's more a symptom of many little things that I'm not a fan of that's going on to decrease my overall enjoyment. I don't dislike the new characters yet, but I don't know
I
them
can
enough.
accept that.
yet.
I mean, because
I
Jed,
was
you're
just
not
going to say
alone.
the same thing. Like, I actually understand that because I remember when I finished it as like the first time that I fully finished it, that I felt similar feelings that like, I feel like this is kind of not boring necessarily, but like meandering is a good word
Mhm.
for it. Like it
Yeah,
didn't
that
have any
felt that way for a
real
while.
Here's the thing.
I can understand that.
First, let me say this. Jed is not alone in this. There is a large section of the Stargate SG-1
Fandom.
Atlantis fan base that does not like seasons 9 and 10. They do not like it. I mean, I'm with you.
It
you,
is
Shane, right
almost
here.
a different show.
It is because they changed focus. It went from dealing
it got
with
deeper, kind of.
aliens pretending to be gods to things that are essentially gods.
Mhm.
That was kind of the point, though. It's
Yeah.
like with anime, people see power creep all the time. I mean, it does happen. It's
Yeah.
like they went from aliens pretending to be gods to, like you said, they were just like, well, shit, we defeated all of the fucking gold. Where do we go from here? Well, let's pit them against some actual gods or things that are close enough to that there makes no difference.
Yeah. And here's the two things. One, so Jed, this is why I'm not going to be angry at you about this because you're not alone. I don't agree with you, but you're not done yet. I think you might tend to grow in it. And
why
you
I'm
also
it could change my mind.
and
I just need to be motivated.
And if you're watching Atlantis at the same time, I think the synergy will help there. At the same time, there's also this. If you haven't watched Farscape, it's a bit of a hard sell to have Ben Browder and Claudia Black suddenly appear in the show and take over. And the thing is this, if you are a massive Farscape fan like I am, Farscape had literally just ended and they were given the opportunity to come over. Ben Browder is basically playing Crichton Light as Cam Mitchell. And now, but Claudia Black is complete her name just slipped my mind because I want to say Aaron, but Vala, thank you. Vala is completely different than Aaron Soon. So Claudia Black's range is great in that because you go from Aaron Soon, who's just by the book military soldier, to I'm Vala. I'm crazy and horny.
And amazing.
He's definitely the most
and also I'll rob you blind after I marry you. Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone has their flaws.
Listen, I was a massive Claudia Black simp, so having her come over to Stargate full time, along with Ben Browder, who I really like from Farscape, it was an easy acceptance for me because I already was in love with them as actors from their other characters, and watching them become a part of the show, it was a safe bet for us because at the time you also got to remember this was back then when sci-fi was not sci-fi like we talked about earlier. You would have Farscape and SG-1 on Friday nights sometimes. There was a period where they were back to back.
Yep.
So it was a part of our sci-fi culture back then. So if you're all watching this stuff in real time, you're already familiar with these people. So a lot of old school Farscape fans and SG-1 fans, it was an easy leap. So it was an easy transition. But you're watching this flat out at a breakneck pace. You haven't seen Farscape either.
I haven't.
So I still haven't either.
Yeah.
And when I got to that, like I was out here in Colorado living with my brother, and I've said it many a time. I was molded in his image. I'm pretty sure it was his ultimate evil villain plan is to make his little sister into him when we were kids. But I have a certain level of trust for him because things that he recommends to me or like says it'll get better. I just have an inherent trust. So I had that in my life when I was watching it and because I was just like, where's Jack? Like, because I mean,
Well,
It's Jack.
RDA had essentially retired.
Yes,
He was done.
yes.
It's like
And I understood that.
He literally was a man in his late 50s, early 60s, and he has a 6-year-old daughter. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna be a dad.
There was a
Yeah.
good motivation for it.
He'd also hurt his leg
A little bit, yeah.
during
Yeah.
season 6. That you remember in season 6 where he became Tok'ra for a sec. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's
right,
like,
right,
"You
right.
My brain literally stopped for a second. I'm watching the episode in my head, and I stopped for a second when he became when he became Tok'ra for a second, and the Tok'ra suppressed his personality. But that's after he got sick with what we learn later is essentially prior plague. He had actually hurt his leg and had surgery, and that's why he was out for a few episodes, and that's why he would sometimes take a couple episodes off here and there because of his leg injury that he'd had surgery on.
Okay.
And that was kind of the leading reasons why going into season 8 he was reduced, and then he only appears once in season 9, and then or maybe it was season 10 or season 9, and then he guest spotted on Atlantis. Although, and there's an Atlantis whoopsie that I'll bring up.
He appears once in season 9, and then he appears again in season 10 on the episode 200, but only as a disembodied voice.
It's a goofball episode. Well, he appears at the end. He's at the end of the episode.
Oh, right.
Before we move on, I want to briefly mention that episode you brought up where he was a Tok'ra briefly, and then he went back there and he was tortured.
Ball episode. Yeah.
So I love that episode for several reasons, but for those of you who don't know, I'm a massive science fan, not just science fiction. Like hard sci-fi is something that I love. I research a lot of this stuff, follow NASA. I watch the space launches whenever I get a chance.
Like a nerd.
I'm a nerd when it comes to at least astrophysics and stuff like that. And I love when classic sci-fi could give me intriguing concepts that were in the bounds of science. And the gravity tech that they use in that episode was just something I'd never seen before. And I was fascinated by how much Ball's Palace or whatever had use of like the prison. It was just a pit because of the gravity tech. They didn't even need doors or anything, just the tech. And I love that concept. That's one reason I see this show, Stargate, as a kind of continuation of the spirit of Star Trek. Because by this point, we were still getting good Star Trek. There was still Voyager, which I actually like more than most people. But the decline was happening, especially later on in Stargate. Enterprise, I enjoy Enterprise, but it's definitely the worst. And yeah, Star Trek was on its way out. This, I feel like, is just the spiritual successor. And I was very glad to find this because I love Star Trek and rewatch it as much as I can. So it's nice to know that spirit lived on for a while.
It was made in the original model. It's of, hey, let's have 24 episodes. Let's have now Stargate's a little more serialized than TNG was, but it's very similar to DS9 where there's a serial and then there's standalone episodes. But it was still traditional television where they were there to make something for an entire year.
Full-length seasons, 3 months off,
Come back, do it again.
That was actually going to be something I wanted to bring up, is the fact that so on this rewatch where I started season 1, I don't necessarily always start with
I always skip season 1, honestly. I skip season 1.
It's skippable.
What?
Especially for someone who's watched it so many times. I totally understand it.
Awesome.
Cold Lazarus is one of my all-time favorite episodes. I don't know if you remember it.
Cold Lazarus is recognized widely as one of the very best episodes, especially of early Stargate.
Because that's the episode where you first get Major Jack character development.
Yes. Like you see into him, and that's why it's such a great episode, because you see the man behind the military. Anyway, so like one thing that I was thinking of as I was just watching my nostalgia love of life through these episodes is the fact that it's 45 minutes long. Like it was an hour episode with commercials, and like I miss those days because they're able to like kind of give you a full story weekly, if you're at the time it was weekly type of things, and we don't have that anymore. And it was one of my biggest issues with the One Piece live action, because there is so much missing from the live action for One Piece. And if we could have what we had and just like took for granted back in the day, if we could just bring that back and like apply it to something like One Piece. And I know that's hard with like the CG and everything, but like I sacrifice some of the fucking CG and give me something practical. Godzilla -1. I want that back so badly, and just rewatching.
I think we all, those of us who are older, we all kind of want that back. You know, we miss those days when they would, you know, we could fall in love with these characters. You didn't have like, you know, 8 1 hour and 10-minute episodes to fucking try and crank out an entire fucking thing. You had 22 to 27 episodes, you know, and some of them, were filler episodes. They have to be at that length, but
even the filler episodes,
they're still character development episodes.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's not just, laugh this off, it's fine. We just need to fill that time because we need to wait for the manga to catch up. Like,
so before we get too much further, I actually want to say something to Jed about the later seasons, the seasons 9 and 10. Right. Mm-hmm. So you're right. There is a bit of a downshift in terms of a lot of stuff towards the beginning. I think it gets better the further along the Ori story you go. And I would recommend, for me, there are a couple of really, really great supporting characters who are not main characters, and their journeys that they go on, like Tobin, who becomes, Vala's wife, and his servant of the Ori, has a fucking incredible character arc for being just a side character. Garak, the guy who takes control of the Free Nation of Jaffa.
He said
that happens in season 8. Or season 9.
No. I just met Durak a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, he is played by Louis Gossett Jr. Really cool character.
Yeah.
Don't give me that tone, Sam. You know how my memory is. Oh, that doesn't matter.
He also said spoilers were cool for him at the beginning of the show.
I don't care. They're not cool for me, for someone who hasn't seen it. I want them to not have spoilers, damn it. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter.
I am king
I think some of that dies
spoiling,
down to your head.
That's why we said it at the beginning of the show tonight. He made sure spoilers were okay. Now, we won't spoil. We're not going to spoil the movies. We're not going to do that because that's the conclusion.
Yeah, well, and I didn't spoil any like major plot points. I just mentioned some characters that are worth watching.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's probably a good idea at this point because I need to be sold to keep going. Like I'm almost not turning on.
God damn it, Jed!
You gotta
just have faith.
Hey, faith is a big deal at the end there. Have faith in your that's actually a plot point for the Ori. Faith.
Well, I haven't mentioned it, but the biggest reason I hate season 9, I don't hate season 9, but the biggest reason is Sam's hardly in it so far. I just got to the first episode she was in.
Keep watching. Keep watching.
She's my favorite character. She's
Amanda
the best.
Tapping was pregnant again. That's why.
Is that what?
Fertile ass woman.
She was pregnant again.
Dude.
Okay, good. She is the best of us. And I wanted to bring that into the discussion that Gal was having a moment ago with how great it was to have television like this that were full season orders. And I didn't like Carter at first. In the first few episodes, in Emancipation especially, she was very bitchy. I'm going to say it. She was very bitchy.
Her opening line, unlike you, my reproductive organs.
Emancipation.
It was a different
Episode
time.
3. Season 1.
It was a different time. Like,
but you know how
I have to remind myself of those things.
Here's how great it is. In the later seasons, she actually comments on that and says, that was retarded that I said that. They are self-aware.
They are completely self-aware. That's great. That earns a lot of forgiveness.
She said that in interviews too. She said, well, this was not a good line to put in here.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I do hate that one episode where she's captured. It's like the Mongol episode. I cannot stand that episode.
Yeah, that one's wild.
I'm like Adam. I can't remember
but my
I
point
have
is,
to skip that fight scene. Just saying.
It was pretty bad.
It's kind of gay. Yeah.
She fights Carrie Hiroyuki. That dude is an epic.
Look.
Main villain.
Carrie Hiroyuki Tagawa is incredible, but that episode is not good.
I know. No. That's why it's not believable because he's freaking Shang Tsung, and she's having a crappy knife fight.
Did you keep waiting for him to go like, your soul is mine?
The most unbelievable part of that episode is the kid saying that you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in the god-awful outfit she is in.
Well, they still had the helmets at that point. They
Okay.
hadn't gotten rid of the
So
helmets.
that's justifiable though.
She was
That is
dressed up in a Mongol
justifiable, Cal.
attire.
She's
But
a
it was-
very
Okay,
beautiful.
no. That is totally justifiable. You're talking about a culture where everybody has black hair and dark brown eyes. He's never seen a blue-eyed,
Yeah,
blonde.
all right.
It's
Since
unique.
we're-
No,
woman
the
before.
outfit
But,
made her look worse.
Since we're talking,
just to finish my point.
I'll go finish your point.
No,
Just
yeah.
real quick, and to finish my point, I think it really benefited her character, especially to have the full season order, because I didn't like her at first. So if we had 8 episode seasons, I wouldn't have had the time to get her to develop to like her as much as I do, because she is my favorite Stargate character. I absolutely love her story, and
course.
she's very intelligent. I hate the Prometheus though, and she has a big part to play in that. But yeah, just if it hadn't been for the full season order, just for season 1, if nothing else, I don't think I would have liked her character. There wouldn't have been time to show us the depth that was hidden underneath.
You get her relationship with her dad, with Jacob, and
Jacob
Jacob
is so good.
Jacob's so good, and
Yeah,
you
it's
get
different.
one of my favorite episodes, Space Race.
God,
Space Race in
is
season
so
8.
good.
Yeah, that one's good.
I did enjoy that one.
I mean, that's what I said. Once in a Stargate managed to do what TNG couldn't, give you an episode that's just not, the world isn't going to end. It's a space race, and it's fun, and I love it. Go. Oh, Sam, are you muted?
You know, one of my absolute favorite episodes is it is central to a lot of the things that come later, but the actual stakes within the episode are not necessarily life and death, right? Was the Torment of Tantalus, when they go to the planet that has the codex on it, and they find Ernest, who was the first person to go through the Stargate, and also knew Catherine back in the day. It's one of my favorite episodes, and it's real early on. You know, I fucking love that episode.
12. I think it's 11 or 12.
Yeah, it's also the first time that they mention the other 4 great races.
Oh, okay, all right.
With who we
One of
met
the
all of
greatest
them, but the Furlings.
No,
Spoiler alert, you will never meet the Furlings.
Jed, you got a little bit to go. You're never no Furlings ever.
Yeah. Well, every time they bring them up, they mention, like, I imagine they're furry little bastards.
Yeah, it's a meme.
I
at this
imagine
point,
Ewoks.
even among the
I imagine
showrunners.
Ewoks.
Well, and the Knots are only in an episode, and
they're in 2
They're in a
episodes.
couple. They're in there 2 or 2 or 3.
Show up.
Well, the chick comes back
So-
a couple of times.
the one where she comes to bring the her first stupid boyfriend that I want to punch in the face.
The
The Tolan guy.
volcano.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, the Tolan. Yeah, when they're trying to
Yeah,
save
yeah,
the
yeah.
Tolan.
The Tolan. Thank you. So, like, she appears. I don't count that as an episode with the Nox because she's literally there for the final scene.
there
to
for the
make
Ar-
sure-
Shows up
for the
there,
Arbiter
and she
episode,
shows
though.
up at the trial of
that one
Star
was
as
a great one.
Gold.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's like, go ahead.
Sorry, you finished the thought. I was going
Yes,
back
no,
to what Samuel was saying.
You're fine. Yeah.
All right.
No.
Well, Samuel mentioned that episode with Ernest, and I wanted Brooks to say I love the concept in that episode, and I hate how they never continue it. Where Daniel finds the codex, right, and it's written in like chemical compounds, as he said, that would be the one thing consistent across all the races in the universe to make it a universal language, and that's a fascinating idea. And then they immediately go away with it and say, "Oh yeah, they just do runes and shit for the ancients." It's like, you had such a cool idea. Stick with it.
You're right, but they did that for a reason. They got to give the archaeologists something to fucking do, right?
That's true.
So it's going to be
Yes.
runes and shit.
Yeah.
And secondly, this gets brought up occasionally too. There is a reason that every planet in the known galaxy speaks English, and it's an out of universe reason. It's because they said, and this was according to Bob Cooper, by the way, who was, I think, showrunner at the time. He said, "Well, look, we can either spend 42 minutes an episode having Daniel try to figure out what the hell the other guy is saying, or we can tell you a story. Those are your options."
And like,
It was
it's
great
fine.
in the movie, but yeah, you had to move on.
It's fine to have like 1 or 2 episodes where that is a thing, like when the Unis planet.
Ooh, that's a great episode.
Oh, the
It's
Una stuff
a great
is
episode, and like,
Yeah.
it's
And they-
okay to have
Chaka is
all of
another
them.
great character.
Chaka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaka.
So good.
And they actually carry that on, and you get all the way to season, I want to say it's 7, where you have to have Chaka be the ambassador.
That was
Yeah.
a great one
Yeah.
too.
I like the evolution of Chaka as a character.
It's and now they changed his practical makeup a couple times there, but
evolved.
but it's it's once again little steps of let's give listen, it's a self-contained episode. Yes, they're trying to get more trinium and stuff like that, or naquita, whatever they're mining on the planet. I don't remember anymore. But it's the joy of, like you've been saying, a 24 episode season. You could take time to have an episode about learning to communicate, learning to respect someone's culture. We don't talk about the Native American episode. That episode is god awful. That episode is just god awful.
I don't agree that was a god awful episode. I think that was kind of an interesting episode.
Of course, the Native American feels that way.
You know what? Suck this red dick, devil.
To Jed's point, though, when I actually rewatched it like 2 nights ago, I think the Torment of Tantalus episode, I was sad for that too, because I was like, oh, this would have been really cool, even though it's way above my pay grade.
Yeah.
In my brain.
That's the extra nerd level thing with me going on.
But I had those thoughts of like, it reminds me of like, or it made me think that they had so many different ideas that they wanted to get to that they just couldn't. It was just like the spider web of ideas. Like I could see the writers in the writer's room, like talking out all these ideas and plans for different episodes, and kind of just see the spider web as it grew. And that's what I was thinking when I was watching it, because I was kind of sad because you don't really get to see that. And with the Nox, could have been great.
Let's go in the direction of, like you said, the spider webbing in terms of starting things and having them either go on or stop short. What are some of your, and it's up with all you, whoever answers first is fine. What are some of your things that they planted a seed of and came back to later with a satisfying either single follow-up episode or multiple follow-up episodes?
Harcesis.
Okay, Harcesis. Go for it.
I think Harcesis was a really, really interesting idea. A human child born of 2 gold-possessed parents who inherits all of their genetic memory.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that was the story arc through, like, I think season 2 through like 4 or whatever. But no, I think it concludes in season 5, if I remember right.
When he finds
Harcesis itself gets ascended by Oma Dasala.
The kid comes to teach Daniel the lesson. Sometimes the only way to win is to not to engage.
Right. Yeah, and if
I hate that lesson. It's awful.
If you immediately know that it's fire, the meal was cooked a long time ago. That kind of riddling bullshit. But that aside, I actually really enjoyed that idea. This idea of like a maybe not a like super being. I mean, obviously he becomes one later when he ascends, but of kind of a something that everybody would want, because this would in fact give an edge to any Gould who took that body.
That was the whole point. That's why Apophis wanted to put himself in his own son. Creepiness aside, he wanted all
the
that
whole
knowledge and all
thing.
that power.
Yeah, but that storyline's only in like 5 or 6 episodes total, but it's stretched out. Like they don't deal with that all the time. They plant a little seed here, a little seed there, and they're like, "Oh, I stumbled on this planet. Holy shit, this has to do with this thing we were looking at like fucking 8 weeks ago."
What that is also now that's also a kind of a theme that they keep going on for future seasons, where they have Gould trying to make perfect hosts, like the whole Nirti arc. And the chick who played Nirti.
Where she experiments on those people on the planet, changing their DNA.
With all the psychic
and we're gonna come to Jonas. We'll come back in a second when we bring up Jonas. We're gonna bring up Jonas real soon. Don't worry, we're not leaving out Jonas. So the Harcesis was fascinating because it opened up the door of Gould wanting to make perfect hosts, and that carries on forever, all the way to Anubis, who made his own clones essentially, where they found his son, and that was a fascinating thing where he was evolving right before them to ascend and all that crap. One of my favorite things they did was the whole Linnea arc. I thought Linnea was fascinating. Destroyer of Worlds.
Yeah. When they were in the prison.
Yeah, when they went to the prison planet.
The prison planet.
And you understand that the only reason she didn't kill everybody in SGC is because she owed them one for getting her out. And then, of course, her follow-up.
And she really thought hard about it first.
Yeah. And then her follow-up
I
story later
remember
on
now.
where they come
Okay.
back and we discovered that she had gone to another planet. She
Yep.
continued her experiments for not only power but youth, and it ended up causing a massive basically fountain of youth for the entire planet because their population had stagnated. They were sterile.
Mhm.
They couldn't make any kids, and everybody started over it. But she herself had also lost her memory in the process. And in that moment, this is where Daniel's still recovering for having lost Sharae, and he's not ready. But he connects with the non-Linnea version of
Yep.
Linnea. But then in that it's a very cool moment where at the end there she's saying, "Part of me really cares about you, but another part of me wants to kill you where you stand." And it's a fascinating dichotomy of what happens when you've kind of been living in another personality, but your dormant personality comes forward, and they decide to do the kind thing and wipe her memory again. I found the Linnea storyline. It's only 2 episodes, but I think it's one of those things. Yeah. It's one of those great things where they planted the seed, they went away from it for years, and then let's come back to that and do it really well.
What I really enjoy is Cassandra.
Mm.
When she goes from this little girl to the flare. And if anyone I don't mention that frequently, so I can't really say if anyone knows me, but I hate time travel anything because
time travel's got to be, you got to do it delicately. You have to stick to a certain set of rules. You cannot fluctuate them. And now I know you're going to go about you're going to talk about 1961, aren't you? That's where you're going.
Well, yes,
69.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So but not just that. It's like her entire thing, because she becomes Janet's daughter.
Yeah.
And then we lose Janet. And then you also have to make sure that she's there in that specific moment so they can come back to her past. They went to the past. It's a whole thing that's completely out of control, but you have to remember for everything to raise this little girl to remember that. And then she also lost her mother. So there's so many different factors. I really enjoyed that.
Well, that the episode where Cassie is evolving and they have to try and track down Neerti, that's a fantastic episode because that's a very powerful Janet episode too. Where where basically, I'm not the one you have to be worried about. You have to worry about her mom. She's got a gun pointed to your head.
Yeah.
Be worried about her.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. That's a good one.
I miss Janet.
I think we all do, buddy.
Yeah.
God, that destroyed me. That episode destroyed me.
Well, that's all right. Let's talk about that then. Those 2 episodes were a mastercraft in dodging
anticipation,
dodging the question who got got.
Yeah.
Oh, and they do something that I actually fucking hate in both movies and television series. I do not like cinema verita stuff. I don't. It's all shaky cam all the fucking time. It's always from a certain POV that I'm like, no, I don't want to be the fucking cameraman. I want to watch the story. And they did it well enough that I was able to get past that because the story is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And in that moment where
I don't understand what he just said.
Okay.
The when they're doing the camera.
The reality TV stuff.
Yeah, when it's from
footage.
you're watching it from through the camera. The camera guy's angle.
Reality TV shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Because you remember,
I couldn't understand what you said after that because I was like, what the fuck did he just say?
Saul Ruminant gives Daniel they gave them a camera to take to the field during the battle. And when the dude who gets hit by a staff blast is dying, he wants Daniel to record his final words for his unborn child. The problem is, while they're filming it, of course, everybody thinks that that's the dude, either him or Jack. It's either one of those two have died at this point. We don't know who. But then there's the shocker as they're filming it, and you see Janet working on him, and then suddenly you see a staff blast hit, and Janet just goes, whoop.
I was in denial. It's like, is she using one of those new bulletproof vests that we'd been talking about?
That's the what saved Jack. That the new plated vest was what saved Jack from the staff blast he took in the previous episode. But
I was in
wasn't.
so much denial. It's like,
And
yeah,
then they
she's wearing
cut-
that. She'll get up. She'll be
And
fine.
then they cut, and you saw dead eyes. And you
Yep.
saw dead eyes. And that
Don't mind
was,
me. I'm just gonna go off camera for a moment.
but
It's fine.
and you realize how what are we all on? What are we all sharing our cycles at the moment here, Samuel? What the hell?
I'm pretty sure it was his internet cycle.
Wait,
not
what the
his.
fuck?
Yeah, shit. Yeah, he'll blame the shitter
I
to go have a moment.
think
of
he was
quiet,
upset that
crying time.
I didn't understand his highbrow term.
No, but that was a moment, because then suddenly in the final 15 minutes, then you're allowed to see everybody's emotional reaction. They've been hiding it because Daniel knew what happened, but he's kind of been, well, as because of the way the story's been told, we're not allowed to know why he's so upset. Sam, we saw her breaking down at
that was
the beginning of the
heartbreaking.
episode. We don't know why. At first, you think it's because of Jack. Well, it's a combination. One, Jack's been seriously injured, and Janet's dead. So Sam's world is like falling apart in that moment.
Yep.
And Teal'c is Teal'c. He is the mountain. Nothing affects him. But that is why it's so powerful in that moment when Sam is trying to write the eulogy. Saying eulogy. Good job, Adam. You remember the word. We're trying to write the eulogy. She can't do it. But then Teal'c comes to says, "Here, I've put together," and that we can go back to the evolution of Teal'c, where in that sorrowful, solemn moment, Teal'c is the one that found the words to speak at Janet's funeral.
And he's always just like the stoic one that you don't think cares.
Yeah. And also you get a fantastic Sam and Jack moment where Rank is thrown out the window for 30 seconds so she can have a good cry.
This is such a good show, guys.
So good.
I want to
right.
briefly say with that episode, I think that one also does a really good job at subverting expectations, because by that point in the show, we have a lot of government people come in, civilians who don't really understand the SGG's purpose or actively disagree with it, like Senator Kenzie. So we're kind of used to the idea, a third party's coming in to watch everything we're doing. He's definitely working for the NID or the trust. There's definitely something going on there with the documentary film crew. And by the end of it, once you actually see the edit and him freak out about why this is so important, it's like, all right, man, I thought you were going to be a villain or just some asshole who got in the way like the film crew on the Prometheus. But no, he actually had something very important to say and did a very good job at telling it. I didn't see that coming, because I've seen that character, the actor, a few times.
Saul Rubinek.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with him, but the impression I got when I saw him is like, oh yeah, this guy plays an
Warehouse
asshole.
13. He plays good in Warehouse 13.
Yeah, he generally plays either bad guys or assholes.
Yeah,
generally.
So they did such a good job subverting that, on top of dragging out the anticipation of finding out who had died and how impactful. I never even guessed Janet. I had
nobody did, dude. In real time.
I was shocked.
Devil, you were watching it were you watching this real time when it came out?
No, I said, I watched everything.
Okay, all right. So
later.
Samuel's the only one who's probably watching it real time. When I was, none of us knew. It was all so. The only one I was pretty sure was like Jack wasn't dead. That's I was pretty sure. Okay, it's not Jack.
Yeah, it can't be Jack.
You have to convince yourself half the time though, because.
Hold on, Ryan, you need to leave.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. My internet is being wonky, so I need to bounce. Thank you, guys.
No problem, dude.
Great show. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Want to promote your channel before you go?
See you, man.
No, not really. Y'all know where I'm at. So,
all right.
Clearly.
You know who I am.
All right. Okay.
Sorry, I have to get up for him. So my internet is
All right.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye.
Go ahead. What were you saying? Who was speaking? I lost track there.
I think Gal.
Yeah. Okay, Gal, go ahead.
I don't know.
No? Okay. All right. Now I do want to talk Jonas, but I want to wait till Samuel comes back, because Samuel had some real life stuff
Jonas,
that he could talk about Jonas. He's actually met Corin Nemec, and he's been in communication with him. So we're gonna wait till Samuel comes back to talk Jonas. Let's talk Daniel. And listen, Michael Shanks. You don't realize how good he is until you get a couple seasons in and you realize that he's doing multiple voices.
Yeah.
And that he really has great range. The best one is basically the episode where he's got that entire civilization in his head, or at least part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's chewing scenery, man, in all perfection. I love that episode because go from the little scared little boy to the tyrant dictator to the officer who wants to do it right. Oh, it's so good. Lifeboat. Thank you, Samuel. Lifeboat. Yeah. Thank you, Gatecrasher. Lifeboat. Yeah. Remember, like I said, I'm not good with names of episodes. Despite 20 plus years of watching this, episode titles don't stick. I just don't.
Yeah. I'm awful with names, and that includes names of shows.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, this episode really shows you his range. I was already a fan of his and his portrayal way more than James Spader. He was a very good character before that. But yeah, when that episode came on and we saw the range involved, I like to think of it in the more real world sense of that, because once he, left the show, I looked up, hey, what was going on? Why the hell did he leave the show and become ascended for a season and then come back? This is one of his first episodes in season 7 that really focused on him. Mm-hmm. I think it was season 7, maybe 6, whichever. Yeah, his first one back.
It's 7 because he came back in 7. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, it's one of his first focus episodes after he came back. And so in my head, I like at least headcanon perhaps, that the showrunners were either internally, they all were a little upset with him, or a little bit like, hey, you need to really prove yourself back to us. Or maybe they thought the audience would not be 100% on board with him coming back because of the way he'd left, that this was a way to prove himself, way to prove that he still belonged on the show, that he had a ton to offer. And he delivered, man. Those, just like you're saying, every one of those portrayals was so different and so realized that we didn't need some character to stand there like Janet and say, oh, are you this personality right now? She did it first, but later on in the episode, they were also realized that he was switching between them all smoothly, and we could track each one because they were so three-dimensional. And an actor pulling off one three-dimensional character in a performance is great, but an actor who can pull off 5 in one episode is just impressive, to say the least.
Yeah,
not to mention how that episode ends is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah, I will take them all. That was that's a really good way to put it, because when he left the show after season 5, it was a thing. Oh, he doesn't want to be typecast. He can go off to do other things. Can I come back, please? Then it's can I come back?
Yeah,
it does feel.
Was it theater?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Well, did Michael Shanks go to theater instead?
No, he did. He was still doing television, but he did do some theater and stuff. He just didn't. He wanted to see what else there was to see, kind of thing.
Okay.
He did Smallville for a little bit during that period.
Yeah, he Hawkman. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he played Hawkman.
Yep, for about 2 or 3 episodes. Listen, never be Denise Crosby. Never be Denise Crosby. Don't leave the show that's a hit. Don't do it.
Yeah, or
Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar. The guy who plays Billy in Battlestar Galactica, same deal. He was like, I want to go do other things, and then it blew up, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
What did I do?
So Michael Shanks as Daniel Jackson. Talk about constantly being having your character motivation change, and they did it so well. And even though he left, they still managed to work it. And when he came back for the guest spots in season 6, especially in the Teal'c episode and Michael Judge and Christopher Judge's directed episode, that is great. I'm here for it. And then when he comes back, when Jack is being tortured by Baal, that's
I'll help you ascend.
Yeah. Yep. And Jack's like, I don't want to ascend. I want to live. All I need is a fighting chance. But that whole here's how I really like how they managed to, when you start season 7 up and he's corporealized, he's not ascendant anymore, and he's still trying to put things back together. One of my favorite episodes is the one where he's meditating with Teal'c and he gets the flashes and he sees that Braytak and Ryak have been captured at a prison camp, and they're help building new Hatak vessels. That episode is so good because not only is it a great Daniel Jackson episode for trying to re-acclimatize himself to being Daniel Jackson, the human, not Daniel Jackson, the Ascended. But at the same time, it's also an awesome Teal'c episode because it's Teal'c trying to still find his mojo again. We are in a post-symbiote world, no more Junior, a world without Junior.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Without Junior, and he doesn't know if he has the mojo to do it. And in that episode, the albino prison guard who's just torturing everybody, the albino Jaffa, when Teal'c takes him out in that episode, it's just like it was like, I'm gonna help him. It's like, no, let him do it. Let him do it. And he goes full Teal'c mode, kicks his ass. And then that's one of my favorite cutscene moments ever, because I remember seeing it in the season 2 of the trailer where everybody's fighting in that pitch battle there. You got the SG teams providing Overwatch like that, and Jaffa fighting. And after Teal'c beats the albino Jaffa, Braytak and the dude with the scar on his forehead, whose name I never remember, they walk up to him, they toss him a staff, and then, of course, Ryak, standing there doing jack shit, says, "Father!" And he turns around, a bunch of Jaffa charging. And it's a really cool shot, though, as the 3 real warriors turn around and take aim and fire. It's just a cool...
Indeed.
That was a great moment.
Did you just say moment. Indeed, Sam?
Of course I said indeed.
He's been slipping him in here. He's been slipping
a little bit here and there. But no, it's fantastic stuff. Teal'c has some really, really great character development. Well, one of the things that outside of the show itself has stayed with me, there's an episode, and I forget which one it is, where they come back from a harrowing adventure, and Hammond's like, "Well, how did it go?" And he's like, "Oh, well, Jack's like, oh, Teal'c made some friends when he, beat the shit out of some people." And so ever since then, among a couple of my brothers and I, we have a phrase, making friends like Teal'c, which means getting into trouble.
Shit out of them. Yeah.
Well, one of my upgrade. See, there are some episode titles number upgrades where they get the armbands and become super soldiers. I love that episode.
I love that episode so much.
One, because it's so much fun.
Combination of steroids and meth in a gauntlet.
I just want to get out there. I'm just so excited to get out there, and they're doing the bar fight is glorious because Daniel's like, normally I have to take it, but today I don't. Mm-hmm. And they fight. But at the very end of it, despite the fact that it's got the prelude to one of the ultimate Sam and Jack moments, but when they come back and they're all begging not to be court-martialed, Teal'c goes, "I have nothing to apologize." Teal'c was actually following orders. I was like, I have nothing to apologize for.
Yeah. Speaking of, although, you know what, though? This just pops into my head. Speaking of things to apologize for, we tend to gloss this over a little bit during, I think it was season 2, when Sam and Jackson are on Chulak, right? But they're, in their gear and all that stuff, and they run across that incubating chamber full of larval ghouls, right? Let's not gloss over the fact that yes, they're ghouls, they're evil, but Daniel murdered a bunch of fucking babies in that scene.
Hey, listen, Vendetta. All right, now let's shift gears because now that Samuel's back again. Jonas Quinn, Quinn, the one season wonder. Corin Nemec, Jonas Quinn. First of all, the episode that is the impetus for Daniel's ascension, and the Quadrio, which becomes important for an entire season and a half, is the only way they can actually get the hyperdrives to work in the Prometheus and stuff like that.
Meridian, I think, was the name of that episode.
Mm-hmm. And what I remember when this happened, because now when Michael Shanks leaves, Corin Nemec comes in, I found it to be a very seamless transition. I found Jonas to be instantly likable. Now remember, I'm also a guy who watched Parker Lewis Can't Lose as a kid.
Yeah, I so too.
I was already familiar with Corin Nemec, so I'm kind of okay with him. It's like he's not coming out of nowhere for me as an actor. So Jonas coming in and his integration into the team where it is really good. The Jack doesn't want anything to do with him at first, but then because they keep going through different scientists or Daniel replacements, including a guy who eventually does get taken over by a Gould. I laughed my ass off. That's the first. That's the first Shaka episode, the Unis episode. And what happens though is Jonas earns his place, and Jack's like, "Can we have him? I want him." And Jonas gets several excellent episodes in his one season of super character, like the Nirti episode where he's evolved. And she, now listen, if I was Jonas, I would have taken one for the team right there. She's all over him. She's ready and willing. Just
dude, you seen what her hobbies are? She was gonna melt his dick off.
I don't know.
Forget the stake in the head. Go for it.
Who's more dangerous to sleep with, her or Hathor?
Hathor's just gonna fucking knock you up and take over your butt, or get knocked up and then take over your body, right?
You're gonna take over your butt.
Sure. I mean, Gould's got to get in somehow, right? You're taking a bath with the woman, but
easy access.
Nirti, on the other hand, is going to fundamentally change who and what you are on a genetic level.
Yeah, but you can have some fun first and then destroy her tech.
Ask old one-eyed psychic boy how much fun he's having.
Listen, yeah, but see, Jonas was already evolved, okay? Because of on his planet, they were already.
I like
evolved.
how Adam's trying to like justify banging the evil alien bitch.
Well, he who shall not be named isn't here, so someone's got to be the degenerate.
Hey,
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
Hey, I do not apologize for liking boobs. I will not apologize for that ever.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, so Samuel, I know you are a big fan of the Jonas Quinn era.
I'm a fan of the show overall, and the Jonas Quinn era, like a lot of fans when it first started. I was still reeling from Daniel's ascension, which we all took at the time to mean his death. He was obviously off the show, but like they fucking killed him. He died of radiation poisoning. It was fucked up. It was hard to watch. And the guy who was responsible for that shit took his place. Like what the fuck, man? Yeah. So I had a hard time with that at the beginning. I didn't have a problem with the performance. Obviously, I like Corin Nemec quite a bit. But the character, I was like, why is it this guy? It's like the same problem I had in One Piece with Robin just showing up on the fucking ship. I was like, she was trying to murder you guys like fucking 2 episodes ago, but whatever. And it's just, it didn't make sense to me at the time, but the character started to grow on me. And eventually when he does earn his place, and you're right, he had a great fucking season and he had some really excellent Jonas-centric episodes. He contributed to every episode that he was in. There's this one scene in particular that I'm thinking of, although I think this is in season 7.
The episode with the Gould chick. Where they're drilling.
Yeah, I'm thinking of. I've got this image in my head of him and Daniel ringing into a cargo hold. And
that's season 7 premiere. That's a season 7 premiere.
Yeah, and Jonas is like swinging his Zat around, but he's not actually shooting anybody.
What I like is their exchange. There is
it's pretty funny.
They have this exchange where their comments like, where they're. Jonas asking me, "You going to come back?" And Daniel's like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, we're getting attacked all the time. Our life's constantly in danger." And Jonas says, "It's kind of fun, though, isn't it?" Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, it's good. But I did like his addition, and I was sad to see him go back to Kelowna. Although I'll be honest, the political tensions on his world were actually kind of interesting whenever they did come up.
Well, they detonated a Naquita bomb on that planet. That's how bad it got.
I'm not a big fan of the planet that he comes from, Kelowna. I actually don't like that thing, but I do love the character. It sucks that he only got that one season because I really did like the arc that he had. That his race has that evolved kind of thing where he can learn really quickly and stuff. And I really thought I wanted to see where that was going to go further. So it did suck that his character only got that one season. But not only do I remember him from Parker Lewis like you did, Adam, he's in a movie called Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes, and I love his character in that. He almost dies. Yeah, he's it's all about parachuting.
Drop Zone. Oh yeah,
Drop Zone. Yeah,
Drop Zone. Yeah, Drop Zone. Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. I love the movie.
Yeah, and I love it too with Swoop. He won't talk to him till the end. Yeah, and he ends up hitting the ground because they cut the shoot.
That's a
yeah,
scary ass moment in that movie.
but he plays good in that too. So
Yeah.
I remember from him.
Yeah.
The scene that I think encapsulates his character really, really, really well, right, is when they've got that Stargate that's being overloaded, right, and they've got to get rid of it somehow, and they're just like, what the fuck do we do? What the fuck do we do? We can't shut this down. We can't whatever. And Jonas walks in with a clipboard and a mug, and he goes like, so how'd you guys get this in here in the first place? Oh, we lowered it in with the giant crane. He's like, huh, does it go up?
Yeah, that
was a great moment.
That's the season 6 premiere. That's the season 6 premiere. And
that moment is actually the moment where I was like, all right, he might be a good replacement for Daniel. Because, of course, I'm reeling after Daniel, just like you guys are saying. Like, is any replacement really going to work? Or is this when the show's going to drop off? But at that moment, it's like, all right, he can stand his own. He can have the humor that matches Jack's. He can be an intelligent addition. And yeah, that's when I was sold on him. And I enjoy his season. And I wish he had stuck on at least as a supporting role instead of just kind of disappearing as number one.
Agreed.
Return.
Yeah,
agreed.
It would have been good because Jonas, and I think we can go back to giving credit to the writing. They're able to create a character that, like Samuel said, has a lot of instant baggage because he's the cause of another character's demise. Yet they managed to create a scenario where we can connect to him, we can like him, and he helps out without being, in this case, a Gary Sue. You know, Jonas comes in, and it's
he's got his flaws. They're just different than someone else's flaws.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do what like a Sam would do or a Rodney would do, where you have to come up with a giant thing to figure out. No, he just made a simple logical leap. How'd you get it down here? And it's a great way to say, wow, okay, simple thinking with a bunch of people who have been at this for so long that they overthink everything. But then there's the simple solution. And Gatecrash brings up another one, prophecy. And prophecy is always an interesting episode because did it really happen this way? Did these events happen because he saw it, or were they going to always happen? It's that whole self-fulfilling destiny type of stuff. You know, did he actually did he actually save anybody by hanging on as long as he did to say this, or did he change the future? So that's one of those interesting, I guess, meta episodes. Better, one way to put it is like a meta episode where you're thinking about the metaphysical. It's like, okay, what's going on here? How does it line up? So that's also good. That's towards the end too. That's toward the end of end of season 6. I want to bring this up now. Another tangent, because we've been almost going at 2 hours, and I don't know how much longer we're going to go because we obviously go. What was it?
Oh, are we moving on from Jonas?
Oh, you want to talk about Jonas? Oh, we can talk about
just
Jonas
real quick. Just one thing I wanted to add, because Samuel mentioned it as well. His home world. I think that's my answer to your earlier question, Adam, of a concept that was followed up in a later one. They briefly mention it in the episode that Daniel dies or ascends, that this to them is very reminiscent of the episode where they gave weapons to that, or the white supremacy episode. You guys
Renee Auberjonois. Yeah.
Yes.
I just like they mentioned in that episode, they think of this situation as being a lot like that. So I see it as a continuation of that type of story, because for so many seasons, human beings have been the underdogs of the universe, where they have no technology that's on par with those that they come across. And they're always begging the Tolans and the Tok'ra and everyone they come across for new and better technology. But with the white supremacists in the whole episode, they are in the position to do exactly what they've been asking for this whole time, and they see how disastrous it can turn out. And then when you get to the Jonas world, they're in that position again, and they find themselves making very similar choices that the Tok'ra and the Tolan have been making this whole time. So they start to have a little bit of empathy for those other races at a certain point, because they realize maybe there is such a thing as not being ready for new technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to say when people are in these life and death situations and you have a chance to help them. But at the same time, what greater evil could you cause? And even Jack is starting to realize, oh shit, maybe this was right.
Yeah, it's their prime objective kind of moment. This idea of
they don't have a prime directive. That's the thing. They have a military.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The idea of
make a prime directive.
Yeah, the idea of it that sometimes when you help, you actually hurt. That there's
because the SGC's mandate: go out there and acquire technology to defend Earth at any cost.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next thing. And as I said, we've been going nearly a couple hours. We're going to go a little bit longer. This is a round one of Talking Stargate. We can't possibly encompass everything great, and we've been just dancing around. We haven't really talked about full episodes or anything like that, which is frankly, that's another type of show. That's not what this is. We're doing what I intend to do. We're nerding out, random discussions, but I want to bring up one of my favorite frenemies, Harry Mayborn.
Oh, Mayborn.
I love Jack and Harry, baby. Starsky and Hutch.
Towards the end, you end up liking him, but oh my god.
Go ahead.
It takes a minute. Yeah.
It does take a while.
Well, he first appears, he's trying to whisk Teal'c away to be fucking dissected.
I know.
Yeah.
Talk about a side character that goes through crazy evolution. At one point during the Foothold episode, he's their only way out because he's the only person they know is clean that Sam can go to for help. Then later on, after everything breaks down, he's a traitor. He's the reason the Russian Gate program was going in the first place. Then he's on the run from the NID and the Trust, and then get the Jack and Harry episodes, which are some of my favorite ones.
Great.
Yep.
It's so good. And then it culminates in season 8 where he's king. All hail to the king, baby.
All I know is he eats one of Jack's hot dogs, that bastard.
Yeah, he takes Jack. Yeah, and a beer.
Take
And a
my
beer.
and
And a
my
beer.
hot dog, you're a dead man.
But one of the best ones is when they get trapped on that Furling planet with the Furling tech, which was actually...
when they start eating the fucking herbs and shit.
Well, yeah, and they're fighting each other. That's so good.
Such a good episode.
And that's also another great Sam and Jack moment because Sam's losing her shit because she can't find him. See, we're gonna talk Sam and Jack another time because there's not enough time tonight. That's a whole very large rabbit hole.
I'd love to come back and discuss more of this shit with you guys, especially Jed after you finish SG-1. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and then one.
Oh my god! In that movie,
that's why I'm gonna retitle this one round one for this because we will be coming back. This is not over. There is so much to discuss for Stargate, but also because we can't even touch Atlantis on it because Jed hasn't watched it, so we can't even touch Atlantis and the surprising and glorious fun that Atlantis turned into.
So it gets better.
Season 1 is a little rough. Season 1 is a little rough.
From what I've seen, it's pretty cheesy, and I miss the original Weir. Dr. Weir.
I like that. Gatecrasher. That's brilliant.
Chevron
that's
1.
Brilliant.
Nice.
I'm retitling it. Oh, dude, that's brilliant.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah,
sir.
Jed, I was with you too because I really liked the original casting for Weir in SG-1. I thought she was fantastic in that role. And then when Atlantis started, you had Tori Higginson, who does grow on you. She did grow on me. I like her quite a bit. But initially, I was in the same boat. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why did they recast? I mean, I know it's a new show, but we just met this character and she's a shorter, blonder woman.
But yeah, so I love Mayborn. And that's one of the things, just to come back to that the show did so well, is bringing in these extra characters, even for only 2 episodes. I mean,
Wolsey.
Yeah. You get Jolene Blaylock's character. She's only there for 2 episodes, but she's fantastic. She's also hot. You've got Tony Todd. They see that's season 9 and 10 though. That's 9 and 10, and that's
Who's Tony Todd.
He plays the leader of the rebel Jaffa who are like invisible ninjas.
They're like the super Jaffa, like the best of the fucking best. Those dudes are bad.
They've got personal cloaking tech.
Yeah. That's mid season 9, late, and comes back in season 10. We forgot to recognize.
Okay, gotcha.
We forgot to mention that he we told when we were doing our Tony Todd memoriam a couple weeks ago. We forgot to mention he was even freaking Stargate. We forgot to mention that.
No, we did.
We talked about it.
We did.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I must have missed it. I must have not been paying attention for a second.
Your memory's failing you in old age.
I don't feel bad.
Atlantis,
Quiet, woman.
Atlantis is one of those has one of my favorite characters because it started as SG-1. You hated him in it, and Rodney. I love Rodney. I love
you see Rodney twice.
I love
SG-1.
His interaction with
the other
Carter
physicist.
is great.
They bring him in. I don't now. Isn't Rodney's first episode when they connected the black hole? Isn't that his first?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
And he's such a dick in that. You just hate him.
They're so good at writing characters like that. Redemption arc kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of good science fiction, that particular episode, I actually I watch reaction channels for fun. Some of you guys know this. And sometimes you get other channels that are not about reactions, but they'll do one, like if it's in their field. So I watched this physicist, this astrophysicist named Becky Smethurst, and she did a reaction to that episode because she wanted to see what they got right and what they didn't, because her specialty is black holes. And she was surprisingly pleased with the episode, especially because they brought up the difference between redshift and blue shift, which not a lot of people outside of her field even know about.
I love that episode actually comes back into play when
when they use the gate as to explode the sun.
Well, not just that, but also remember when it's the 2008 episode when you get the flash forward. I forget the name of that race that basically
the Ashen. It was
the Ashen. Oh yeah. When we actually come back and Sam's would-be husband, who gets ganked. Thank God. Yep. I love it where at the end of that they said, "Well, what about all those gate adjusters gave them?" And Jack says, "Well, the first one's to a black hole, so they're gonna have a problem." So they brought that back. They brought that back.
2010, thank you, Gatecrasher.
Wasn't the first one 2008 and the second one?
No, it was 2010, and then the second one was because the first one was
2010, and I reversed them. Yeah, I reversed them. That's why. Because 2010 is the future, but 2008 is when that timeline would have started. In 2008, when they find
when they were going to encounter the Ashen in the first place. But the 2010 one was the one where they had already basically to serve manned everybody.
Yeah. 2001? Damn it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I'm jumbling. I'm going to trust Gatecrasher. Gatecrasher's been on point with the episode titles tonight, so I'm going to trust Gatecrasher.
Right.
As I said, not the best at that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. That's my credit right there, baby. Look at that beautiful thing right there. There's my credit. Go ahead.
That episode, I really like the ideas with it, this horrible future and what the Ashen were doing. But like Gal, time travel is very, very hard to get right for me. And so far, none of the time travel in Stargate really holds up because of the paradoxes. Like the end of season 8, the paradox
with the fish.
I listen. Morbius is a whole. That's my biggest problem with the end of season 8 because.
Doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah. That's why the finale is the episode where Daniel was ascended. That's what I think of as the end of season 8. That's a great finale with the defeating of the replicators and the system lords in the episode before.
Yes,
that.
they thought they were going to get canceled then too. They were not counting on another season after that. That's part of why they ended Mobius was to kind of cap it off with a nice little whatever adventure. Even though you're right, the time travel in it makes almost no sense whatsoever.
It doesn't run. Yeah.
So,
I have a lot of also it's like Ghetto Sam and Jack. It's like, no, that's Ghetto Sam and Jack. That's not real Sam and Jack.
Yeah. You got to keep in mind, SG-1 was canceled like 4 times.
You're right. Yeah. I didn't know they were almost canceled before season 9. I didn't know that.
So they had gotten rumors that they were going to end after season 8, that they weren't going to get the go ahead to go further. So they were trying to wrap up what they could in the episodes, which is why at the end of I'm not going to say anything specific about it, but season 10 ends very fucking abruptly
I
because they
hate that
thought they were
finale.
getting
I
another
hate
season
the
after that,
quote unquote. I hate the quote
which is
unquote
why you got to
series
watch
finale.
the 2 movies.
Yeah, the
I was
quote
gonna say, but
unquote
the movies.
the quote unquote series finale. I hate that episode. I hate it.
Unending,
Except
yeah.
for
And that's
except for
why they
Teal.
did movies.
I hate that episode. I don't like it. I know.
Yeah.
I don't like
But
it.
like they knew that they had to do the movies
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think where the position I'm at is similar to Babylon 5. I don't know how many people have seen that, but I really like the first 4 seasons of Babylon 5. But the end of season 4, they defeat the villain that they've been building up towards. The whole story's wrapped up, nice little bow on it, and it just feels complete. It feels like this was a good place to stop, and then they just keep going for another season.
Well,
and like I said earlier, it feels like it's
Supernatural did the same
meandering.
thing after season 5, yeah.
Yeah, Gilding the Lily or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And I kind of, that's where I feel with Stargate right now is, that episode where they defeat the replicator Carter is rushed, that 3-parter where they get Anubis and they wrap up all the loose ends, but they wrap them up in a way that was satisfying enough to me that I felt like, hey, we've got the system lords, we've got the Friedrich Fall, we've got the replicators taken care of. It was just all the major threats were eliminated. So it felt like anything that would come back for wouldn't be as fulfilling as that. So that's where I'm at. That's why I'm having a real time continuing, because at this point I'm seeing that episode where Daniel is ascended as being a really decent finale that wraps up everything. That on rewatches at this point, that's where I would end if I were rewatching it today without knowing how the seasons 9 and 10 in the movies go.
Don't know.
That's right. What I don't know, but from what I have seen, that would be the place that I would stop my rewatches.
But season 9's about the aftermath. It's about the chaos that ensues. Like the Friedrich Fall Nation are in competition with groups like the Lucian Alliance for control of former Goa'uld territories at this point. And there's a lot of infighting going on, which is what leads into the Ori being able to establish a foothold in the first place.
And then it's all because Daniel got too curious.
So
I mean,
really quickly,
dude, Daniel's got to stop touching shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It really does.
Like starting with that fucking mirror in the first
I was
season.
gonna say the mirror, the alternate reality episode.
But it still saved it because he went.
I always
because he did that. He saved everything. But yeah, see, the thing about that though is, you're not wrong. I mean, season 8 wraps up quickly, and season 9 takes a little bit to get going. But when you're watching it back then, like Samuel and I were, I just wanted more. I never felt that. I was like, okay, Goa'uld done, Replicators done, ready for the next adventure. And just when you get to it, Arc of Truth.
So I understand where Jed's at, because I'm mad at One Piece right now. This is going to be the easiest example. It's probably not exactly how Jed feels, but this is the way I get sometimes, especially with something that might be longer and has different arcs to go through. I will not necessarily get bored with it, but I'll get frustrated with something to where I stop and I just, okay, I'm going to pick up something else. So you gave me the perfect excuse, Adam, when you wanted to do this week, for me to stop watching One Piece for a bit, because I'm very upset with it right now. And just start watching Stargate SG-1.
Just quick, where are you?
I consider it filler because I hate the character, because it's right after a certain character has.
Don't rip your hair.
I'm still
I'm
real mad.
Wait, you're still in the Sabo flashback?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't like it.
Gotten over that yet?
You, me, and Dermy are gonna have a discussion, because I'm pretty sure you like him and I fucking despise him.
Oh, you have to get. Well,
nope.
Listen, you have to get.
Nope, you're not gonna convince me. The reason that I despise him is why we have to talk. We have to have words.
Well, I'm gonna be adjusting the One Piece special in January. I'm gonna retract how far we're gonna push out there, because I think it was too much. I got a little heady in how much I wanted to talk about there, I think. But fine. We can talk about it.
But so with back to equating it to Jed and the Ori, so if I get frustrated with something, or I just need kind of a small break from it, I will take that. But so with One Piece, I'm very frustrated, and I'm basically we're on hiatus, as it were. So I just need to step away, and then I will get a hankering to go back to it. And my brother, he's like, you again. He gets frustrated with me because last year I stopped watching before Thriller Bark. And he's like, it gets so good. And I was just like,
Not in Thriller Bark, it doesn't.
And so I stopped. You hush. He was talking about the stuff with Ace. But so I stopped watching. And he's just like, Tiffany, you need to finish that. And I told you to skip it because it's just filler anyway. And I was like, I needed to watch it. Okay. And he's just like, no. You have now quit again. You're doing this to me again because it gets so good again. So that little side tangent is what it is. But so I kind of understand where you're at, Jed, because I know exactly what you're feeling because it's a bit slow with what happens with it. And it does take away from Carter. And I definitely feel you for that. But I can't even try and convince you because it gives things away that I don't want to give away. Like that I feel you need to see because it gets so good. Yeah. It's just, and I can't convince you because I know myself in that. So,
side characters, dude.
Psych. There's so many great side characters. But if what they're saying in the chat was true, that it was originally going to be a spinoff called Stargate Command, that would have been a much better way to sell these 2 seasons for me because they just feel so disconnected so far.
Well, it is.
So many different characters.
Really.
Yeah, it's so abrupt. Like if it had been a spinoff, the abruptness would have been built into the formula and made sense. And it would feel like it feels like a different show. And so if it was a different show, that would help substantially. So I think it might have been better if they had actually stuck to that plan and made Stargate Command.
And I'm going to stand by what I said earlier. If you're back in the day watching this alongside Atlantis, which has now been going for a season, you're invested in the entire universe that's going on. So it's a lot easier to maybe watch if you're not so if what's going on in the SG-1 episode. And I admit some of those early season 9 episodes, they're not great, but
the King Arthur crap.
They really lean heavily into the King Arthur stuff.
Yeah.
They
do.
I
Merlin.
saw I saw an image from the season finale, and it's got Merlin or whatever.
But what they have though then is you could take a break from that and you could shift over to Atlantis for a little bit, watching that where they're in season 2, they're moving along. You've got Ronan. It's all kinds of good ass stuff. Momoa joins the cast. And it just like when Jason Momoa joins the cast in season 2 for Atlantis, it kicks
dry
it up
your
a
britches, gal. Shit.
I thought you were going to say dry your britches, Adam.
Fuck off. I'm allowed to have my gooning type of moment. Okay.
That's not even like super muscular Momoa. That's like lean Momoa. He's not even.
So this was unknown Momoa when he joined the cast. Nobody knew who the hell he was. He was like 21 years old at the time.
I mean, people watch Baywatch.
Actually, I think he was in Baywatch for a bit.
Well, did you guys watch Baywatch Hawaii or whatever the fuck?
No,
I didn't watch Baywatch.
No. Why would you assume that I would know about that?
It was in just Baywatch.
I do want to ask if since I'm having so much issues with season 9, would you guys advise that I go start Atlantis more? I watched the first 2 episodes with the
you should be watching it alongside.
Yeah,
because I would alternate. Yeah, alternate it.
Because it might get you back into SG-1. It might kind of reignite your desire to finish it and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I need to at least go and do season 1.
Because also, if you weren't watching Atlantis, since you saw the Harry King for a Day episode, Hail to the King, you missed the fact that the reason they find a puddle jumper with a time travel device is connected to Atlantis. It's connected to Atlantis stuff. So
there's a few things that I've seen that are disconnected. I usually like to go through series in and of themselves and then do the spinoffs. I've had that problem with other shows before, just dealing with it. But the Atlantis stuff, I need to give it more of a chance because those first 2 episodes weren't great for me.
All I gotta say is
good.
Atlantis.
God, there's this.
Todd, Michael.
Michael is one of the greatest fucking science fiction villains of all time. Changed my fucking mind.
You're not wrong.
No, you know what? Don't change my mind. Fucking fight me on it.
Michael is fantastic. Looking forward to more Hammond.
What's the physicist dude's name again?
Rodney?
Rodney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Kolya
transformation is one of the best I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, you fucking despise him in the beginning, and then what he has to go through, what changes him is intense.
I love that episode where he's underwater. That's such a good episode.
Oh well,
I think it's called
Hey, you like that
Underwater.
one? That's Amanda tapping all wet, Jet.
No.
Mhm.
In Atlantis?
Yeah,
In a
well,
bra.
Okay.
it's Amanda Tap. It's a figment of his
I
imagination.
was just gonna say,
but
like,
she's wet. Oh,
Don't,
Carter
don't
is
ruin
in
it,
it.
guys. Don't ruin it.
So, if
You just
anything-
told. Thank you, Gal.
yeah,
That's
I
what
was
I
like,
needed.
wait a minute.
I
Why
need
are we
also
not
space
telling him
whales.
he's
more
doing?
Carter.
and Jed, if you go along far enough, Carter's a character on the main cast of Atlantis. If you go
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was
She
just
does
saying.
do a
Like,
season.
Good.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
that's
becomes
what
a
I needed.
permanent.
Thank you.
Sa-
That's
Sa-
what I need.
Sam joins the Atlantis team,
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for her settling
Mitch
ancient.
Pileggi becomes a regular.
It
and
kinda
there's a
makes sense
Michael
that
Shane,
Daniel's trying to go over there.
and there's a Daniel guest star. There's a Teal
Mhm.
guest star. The Teal episode
Oh, with
is one
him
of
and
the greatest
Ronan.
episodes of
Oh.
all time.
That's
I
pretty
wanna-
sweet.
So I haven't
the
finished
testosterone
Atlantis.
and badassness of that episode.
I said in a long
Mm.
time. It was way long ago when I finished Atlanta,
Mm.
so I barely remember it. So it's
That's
just I
season
can't
Watch it
wait
four.
to
again.
That's Atlantis
Fandoms.
season 4.
Yeah.
That Teal episode was
Yeah,
really
just make sure that you got your heavy
Yeah.
padding on because you're gonna be
Yeah.
soaking.
have some candles.
Yeah.
Listen, have
Yeah.
the candles lit.
Yeah, a couple
Nice-
towels
nice
down.
yeah. Midway. Midway is one of the greatest Atlantis episodes ever.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the
it's
badassness.
yeah. They do some really interesting things that affect both places, both shows too.
Mhm.
Midway Station, of course, being one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. We've been going on for 2 hours. I think let's wrap it up for now. Chevron 1
Hold on.
encoded.
Shouldn't we say our
oh.
favorite and our worst moments of the series?
Why not?
Like
Okay, sure.
kinda-
Well, why don't we just do our
Okay.
favorites right now, and we'll
Okay.
save worst for another time. Devil, since you brought it up, what's your
Yeah.
favorite moment at this?
I've already mentioned my favorite is the episode that you don't get to see, but they bring it up in, I can't remember what is it, like towards the end, where they talk about the time Jack was invisible and you never saw the
Oh.
episode.
It's
but
the
I love-
200th
200.
episode. Yeah,
I
it's-
love
which is
the,
all spoof. Yeah,
The humor in it, like him putting the dog in the driver's seat as he's pulling up to the gate and the gate guards are confused as hell. Or when Amanda
in the
Tappin's in
shower.
the shower, yeah, and she goes,
Colonel.
"Are you there? Yeah, Colonel, are you there?" And you hear, "No."
All right, I'll go. Zaytark, episode Zaytark, Sam and Jack.
Hmm.
When they when they think they're assassins and nobody can figure out at the end that they're not lying, but they are lying because they are. And this is what, even though it killed me for years, I appreciate that they held to it. That a subordinate and a superior officer cannot have a romantic relationship.
But
And they just fought so hard, and that final moment when Jack has to admit it, and she just goes, "Colonel," and it's killing him that he has to say it out loud because they have spent years now hiding it from each other and hiding it from everybody else, and it's that moment where they flash to what happened back in upgrades where he couldn't get through the force field, and that is the first time you get the Sam and Jack theme, and that just gets me every time. I love that's my moment. That's season 4. That's my peak season 4 moment. Samuel, what's your favorite moment?
I am not actually sure what I would consider my favorite part. My favorite episode. There's a few that I would probably put in there. Heroes Part 1 and 2. Lifeboat is probably the greatest fucking Michael Shanks anything I've ever seen. So I don't honestly know. Probably my favorite, like, just moment would be season 8, I think, early season 8, where Ascended Jackson is in the diner and Oma Dasala is the waitress, and he's having a conversation with this old fat guy who's just like, having a friendly conversation with him. And the moment that he realizes that whole time he's been conversing with Anubis.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then
that moment right there, I think, was probably the moment that hit me the hardest, aside from Jackson's death, obviously.
Yeah.
The first one, I mean, by the way,
one of many. Gal.
I don't know if I can answer that just because of my faulty memory.
That's fair.
So I have the entirety of the show and Atlantis digitally and hard copy, and so I'm trying to look at the episodes, and I mean, obviously, Arc of Truth is.
Yeah, we can't talk about that yet, though.
I know.
All right,
so I kind of have to pass.
That's fine. Yeah, I generally don't. I generally don't have an answer for these types of questions either. But like I said, as a huge Sam and Jack fan, Memento.
You're a shipper, Adam. Just say it.
I was a shipper for that back in the day. Hell yeah.
No, Adam's just a romantic.
And the show backed us up for it. Okay, it wasn't like they didn't tease us. That season 4 confirmed it, and then it was just waiting for those moments when we got them. Just drip, drip, drip for the remaining of the series. All right, just drip, drip, drip.
I remember the title of this episode, and I can't remember what it's about, but I remember loving it.
Memento. Like I said, I if you describe it to me, I know it instantly, but I can't.
Prometheus is forced to land on an alien world where the local Stargate is the team's only chance of returning home.
That's season 6. That's season 6.
I remember that one.
That's it's everybody working to find where they buried the gate, and it's another one of those episodes where the local
there's almost a coup.
Government where it's got the factions. The one faction wants to broaden their minds. The other one wants to be very isolationist and wants to kill everything and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I know. See, all I need is a little bit, and I know the episode. I know it. Jed, in your short time, what's your favorite moment?
It's very, very difficult to say. Pretty much anything with Carter at the center of attention. I one that I love. I don't think it's my favorite. I'd have to rewatch it to really, have a firm grasp of things. Is when she's taken by Thor into his galaxy, and she practically single-handedly defeats the replicators with the most obvious idea ever.
With her stupid.
They're stupid. I love those interactions intercut with what's going on with everybody else. But yeah, her mind is what defeats the replicators and saves the Asgard at that point. That's a great one.
Sam Carter's how you write a good female character, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
I had started down that path discussion way earlier in the stream, but I forgot about it for reasons. Well, we can come back in Chevron 2 when we get around to that. We could definitely go more into that.
We definitely need to. She's
Samantha
fantastic.
Carter is how you write a strong female character for 10, and if you add in Atlantis, 11 seasons. Yeah. That is how you write a strong female character. Very simple. All right, go. All right.
But one episode I did want to mention that I watched very recently. So of the recent show that I've seen, one of my favorites is the episode where Teal'c goes into the simulator, the training simulator test.
What I mentioned earlier, where you learn he didn't.
That one was rough.
They were going to win.
That one was such a good character study of him.
Watching him,
the video game elements, so self-contained, like you were saying, not world-ending stakes,
But it's
just a man.
Ending for him because you watch him lose himself and get depressed, and he can't win until Daniel goes in there to help him, and then suddenly they put the team back together in the game, and then they win it because they act like the SG-1 we know and love.
You just reminded me that we didn't talk about the Borg episode, unless I was gone for that conversation.
Replicators? Well, we didn't really.
The human replicators.
The next one we'll have to go into all the different villains.
Yeah,
replicators. You know what? All right, I'll say this: when we come back for Chevron 2, it won't be the next Nerdgasm. We have to break up different IPs. Yeah. We will focus on villains next time. We will do a deep dive.
There's a lot.
I'm okay with that.
It's a wide variety, and like Jed said, it starts off a little cliche and weak, but you get Ball, you get the human form replicators, you get Anubis.
Dude was only in 2 episodes, but Sokar was pretty fucking terrifying.
He was wasted, though. They wasted Sokar.
By the way, played by David Palfy, who also does the voice of Anubis.
Really? I didn't know that.
Don't do the devil wrong, man. Don't do it.
So, okay, I thought so. I'm not talking about the human form replicators. Like, where it's that town that just keeps disappearing.
You mean
that's
where
a good
they
one.
do the update and they erase the memories.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
and that's
like,
the
wait,
first time we get Christopher HairedAnti-Liberal as a character in Stargate, and then they just keep bringing him back over and over again in Atlantis and everything.
He
It's-
plays like 4 characters in Atlantis.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird to see him in this because he's in Supernatural as well, but his voice in Supernatural is so distinct that when he didn't use his creepy demon voice, I didn't recognize him at
I
first.
love Christopher HairedAnti-Liberal. That dude is a fantastic
His creepy demon
character.
voice in Supernatural was just
And he-
like cracked out.
Oh,
Marlon
oh,
Brando.
It was
Listen,
wild.
He was great in Sanctuary.
Yep.
He
Played 2 characters in Sanctuary too, by the way.
Yep. He played Bigfoot and he played Jack the Ripper. And when then even though it's a iffy show in the Van Helsing show, he plays the deaf psychopath in that one, and then he just turned into him. I think that dude has as much range as Shanks does. That dude, and of course in Atlantis, he's Todd.
He's Todd. He's also first introduced as one of the leaders of
Villagers.
I saw
yeah, Taylor's people.
Taylor, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Stargate picked up the classic Trek thing of, we're just going to reuse actors and actresses. Shut up. Just accept it.
They
Roll
did
with
a
it.
lot.
We're just going to do that. So go ahead. What?
Oh, a gal was asking who he was in Supernatural. It was the first Alistair from season 4 after Dean got reresurrected, the demon who trained him in hell. It was the first host for Alistair.
Okay.
I think
Thank
when you
you, 'cause
first
I was
meet
trying to look
him,
it up and I wasn't
he's cutting apart Meg's current body.
When she's wearing only the leather straps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love HairedAnti-Liberal. That dude is great. I love him in just about everything he does. Just fantastic character actor. But yeah, so
I want to mention one thing I hate because you did ask that, Devil. I think the best and worst. Fuck the Prometheus. I can't stand the Prometheus. I'm sorry.
it's not a good looking ship.
It's more than the look. It is too far to advance the technology. They were doing very good at first when it was just that one fighter that Teal'c and Jack got into that had the failsafe in it or whatnot. They were just
303.
They were gradually introducing alien technology to human technology, and they're like, we have a ship capable of going into hyperspace. We can go over the galaxy. It has shields. It can fight gold motherships.
So,
the Prometheus is actually the weakest one, though.
I get it, but
it's too necessary.
Yeah,
but the Prometheus was always falling the fuck apart too. And when have you ever known the military not to think that, oh, hey, we can just do this?
I like the Daedalus.
It worked too good, too fast, though. It was just too big of a project. When they introduced it in that episode with the film crew or the reporters, I thought it was all fake. Like they were Carter was kind of hinting at it. I thought it was just to get them off their back, pretending they had a spaceship. And then it took off. I'm like, wait, is this fucking nonsense real?
Yeah, but dude, John Delancey was in that episode, so shut up.
Also, I will admit,
I hate the Prometheus.
They run into some shit later that sets them back puts them on the back foot with their newfangled like galactic traveling technology.
Yeah, there is a problem to what there are problems from anyway. But that's a discussion.
I'm just gonna say it. The Korolev.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
I just always looked at it as it was kind of necessary because they're dealing with so many aliens and they need to get off the planet on their own to where like they're not relying on all of.
I would rather they scavenged it, like it was a gold ship.
I understand.
They tried that a couple of times though, and they are afraid of the slave device.
You know what my worst fucking ocean. You know what? You know what my worst moment was? Because I have it ready. Is the human replicators when they go to the time dilation planet where they are.
Yeah. And
they say the way they got to the machine was literally the last second from going through cracks in the whatever they encased it in. And I thought, okay, you have this super intelligent group, the Asgards, who freaking this is their last chance and they didn't make this thing more solid. They allowed a crack to be in it. Like it just seems so lame that's how they got in, was a crack. It just I hated that part.
Listen, they spent a lot of time showing that the Asgard weren't perfect, you know.
They're not perfect, but Jesus Christ, that's like pretty key if you're gonna put a shell on something to make sure the shell's,
well,
impenetrable.
Asgard,
especially
Yeah.
the reproduction.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I do have something that I actually hate that springs to
Okay.
mind. It's the collective suicide of the fucking Asgard.
Yeah.
that was
does
retarded.
piss me off.
That was the dumbest
Jed
fucking
hasn't
thing.
gotten there
Yep.
yet. Jed hasn't gotten there yet.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
His fault. He
Yeah.
said spoilers.
I've been around in a while, so
Yeah, but yeah, that was retarded because they spent all that time talking about,
It's-
we're trying to fix our
So
genetics
fucking
to
stupid.
produce, but no, we're done, we're out. That's
I mean,
why I hate,
I'm
that's
never
sort of the
going to
reason I
support something
hate
like
that finale. I hate that finale. It's
Yeah.
another reason I hate it. Right. So this was Nerdgasm once a month. We'll be back, I think, on January.
I was just gonna.
We'll be now we're using all the noises, aren't we? We'll be back on January 23rd for another Nerdgasm.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And-
Yeah.
When we come back, I haven't chosen what the series franchise IP will be yet. I have a couple of weeks to figure that one out before I start trying to wrangle another panel together. But this, as I said, thanks to the brilliant tag from Gatecrasher, this was Stargate
well played,
SG-1. This is Nerdgasm, Stargate SG-1, Chevron 1. So we have to come back. There's so much to talk about. And next time, we will devote at least the beginning of it to talking villains, because we only touched the villains. This was kind of just a broad shotgun, let's nerd out. And that's what Nerdgasm is supposed to be. We just nerd out, we jump around, we talk, and occasionally we'll have debates and fights. But it was pretty clean tonight. It wasn't as bad as I thought it might be in a couple cases. But we've got so much more to do. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Go around, promote your channels, and we will say our good nights. Jed.
Well, you can all find me on YouTube and Kick at Hollywood Scholar, just regularly scheduled videos and live streams with Saturday Night Drive-In coming on Saturday night, where we're going to be talking about a Christmas film, but I'm sure Adam will get more into that.
Yeah, I just watched it. God damn you. God damn it.
Love it. I'm unapologetic. It is gay as shit.
It
for
hurt
me to
my
like
freaking
it,
brain.
Was it the Polar Express?
but no, that would be even more
No.
gay.
No.
It's
Devil.
less gay, more Epstein, but yeah.
Devil, promote your channel.
Yeah, come check out Beelzebub. We're doing the pub tomorrow. My schedule's once again gonna change. I'm starting to have to work overtime because of stupid choices by my stupid bosses. So I'm gonna be having to cut out a lot of the shows I'm on, but that's temporary. So just look out for me where I can get to a show.
Okay. Gal, promote your channel. Do a good job of it.
Green-haired anti-liberal, YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Instagram. I do weekly readings of books until I finish each one on every Wednesday. Cooking the Books, where I take the book list collecting dust in your corner and read it to you so you don't have to. That's essentially what my channel is currently, but I do have a couple of actual videos for nerdy type stuff and a movie review, but eventually I'll do other things on it. Currently it's just reading because I miss reading and I don't have time for it, so I forced it. Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Samuel, promote your channel.
Okay, well, my channel is Samuel the Infamous, same name as me, although obviously it reads like System Lord Samuel because today I've conquered the galaxy. It's fine, whatever. Anyhow, I do a couple of different live streams on there when the connection's good enough, which is rare these days. Occasionally I do game streams as well, but we'll be back live tomorrow night for Abyssal Musings, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, which is a just kind of a quirky little show I run with my partner, Lawrence Knight. And then on...
no homo with that partner.
Yeah. Well, no homo. I
That's
think
a
if we
little
were homo,
homoeous.
his wife would probably kill us both. So, anywho, and then over on Saturdays, we have a show called Screaming to the Void where we get into all kinds of topics. Lately, it's mostly politics and conspiracy theories, although we're looking into some like weird science stuff coming up and just some other things. So, no, not that weird science. I'm talking about like, do you know what brain organoids are?
I don't want to know.
I'm just saying.
I'm
not saying that we're going to talk about it now, Gal. I'm just saying, as an example, when I talk about weird science, they make these like little meaty
All right,
pieces
so,
of brain that grow their own
all right.
eyes that they integrate onto microchips and
we
shit.
are-
Anyway,
we are
moving
just
on.
We're just gonna mute Samuel right there, so we can move on from this. Anyway,
Ah.
all
Y'all
right,
love me. You know it.
and if you're here, you know who I am. Thank you for being here. And as Jed mentioned, Saturday Night Drive-In every Saturday. We're watching in the real time right now. This weekend we are watching Love Actually.
Oh yeah,
I have so much to say
Remember that.
you're welcome.
about that. I have so
Jed
There's
just
so
needs
many
Jed just needs to
bad
show up
stories
on there and
now.
hold up a sign and start doing
don't get me
thing.
started on that piece of shit. Oh my god, I'm gonna go off.
Which
so bad.
one? Because
Hate-
both of them have their
They're horrible people.
negative.
Most of the people in that
Half
movie
the
are horrible
storylines are
people.
about infidelity.
There's
There's a lot of
one-
infidelity.
They're all
There's
horrible
like
people in that movie.
1.5 storylines that I like.
We'll get into it Saturday. If every Friday you can catch me over on Ball Busters on Jeremy's channel,
That's
and
Dirty
other
Wormy.
stuff like that. And other than that, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for joining us for the first Nerdgasm. We'll be back in January. I'll let everybody know what it is. So thank you to my panel. Thanks for Ryan for being here as well. Thank you, chat. We love you guys. You guys were great tonight, nerding out with us. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.
Bye.